I'm Shane.
And I'm Bo.
We are your Kentucky Fried Critics.
Back for another one.
That's right.
You know you love it.
Back to even numbers.
I know.
38.
38.
We're barreling to 40, dude. We're almost there.
This is so much fun.
It's so crazy. Think about it, like, right? We were just talking. We were like, how long have we been doing it? It's just like 8 months.
Like 8
Again,
months.
I mean, something like that.
Dude, we're trugging right along.
Yeah. We got this.
Views and stuff have been
I was about to say,
up.
do you want to make that announcement? It was one of your episodes, so you should definitely...
I am so happy, and I don't even know how to appreciate my gratitude to anybody that watched Kung Fu Hustle video. It's at, what was it, 1,100 views as of
literally
this recording?
Right before we started recording, it had hit 1,100 even.
What's a good southern sounding word? I'm gobsmacked.
I'm plumb gobsmacked.
I'm plumb gobsmacked about it, sir.
I like that word. That is a good one. It definitely conveys a lot of emotion.
Right. So thank everybody.
Yeah, thank you guys. We are more than, I mean, it took 2 weeks to get there, and the whole 2 weeks, like every single day, one of us was messaging the other one to be like, did you look at it today? Have you seen how high it is? Have you seen it's still going? I think we've gone too far from our usual. We've been trying to do our immediate roll into our socials. But we were excited, guys.
Yeah, dude, no,
this is big news.
It was numbers. Huge news for us.
Yeah.
Thank you all so fucking much.
We've been so excited, so we just had to talk about that first for a minute.
Socials.
On to the socials.
So all these new people know how to find us.
That's right. So again, we have the meta apps. Well, we always take care of the
we just cluster them all together.
Because they're all the same there, minus whatever comes at the beginning, the at or the slash, whatever it is.
Whatever little symbol you need.
So that's going to be Kentucky Fried Critics. No spacing, no caps, no anything special, just Kentucky Fried Critics, all lowercase. That's going to be for all of the meta, so that's Instagram, that's Facebook, that's Threads, that I still have not posted on, despite the many times I keep saying this. I'm going to try to give myself a kick in the butt. Sooner or later, it's going to land, and I'm going to start doing
it. Just text you in the morning, did you thread today?
It's probably more likely to get me to start doing it than anything
make you
else.
laugh.
It will definitely at least make me laugh. Yeah, have you been threading?
Threading? How's your thread? Hope you're tying up those loose threads. Continue.
Well, yeah, so all of those, again, that's the meta suite of apps, and you can find us, all of them are the same there. After that, we usually hit you guys with our YouTube. It used to be the one we hated.
It's the new favorite.
It's our favorite now. We've got a new mascot that helps us with that
Riddick Rat. He's such a cuddly thing.
Like our YouTube mascot?
Our YouTube mascot. We were trying to come up with have like the overall channel mascot that's Commander Pop Culture.
And we have the podcast mascot,
which is
YouTube.
The
mascot.
YouTube mascot is Riddick Rat.
Yeah.
Because
KFC Riddicks.
Yes.
So if you're going to find us at YouTube, that's going to be youtube.com/@KFC Riddicks.
Come join us, subscribe, hit the buttons. You all know how it all fucking works, especially since there's a lot more of you now.
After the YouTube page, we usually hit you with the web page. Why we don't have the web page at the beginning of this whole list of stuff, I still don't. I guess I always say this. I'm like, it's a hub for all of the other stuff, and we basically say all of the other stuff first, and then we're like, hey guys,
gives me time to prep from whatever weird hyphen dance I'm about to do.
That's fair. I'll give you that. But yeah, so our website is gonna be shows.acast.com/Kentucky-fried-critics.
Doing a little club dancing right now.
It's
a little inspiration from the movie today.
That's our hyphens. If you've been here since the beginning, you know we've slowly weaned Bo off this addiction that he had. I
quit that weird cult that I was in.
Yeah.
So, I got weird.
Between the addiction, then the cult, you've had a lot of a run in with the hyphens, man. They've not been good to you.
It's a weird community. It starts off so nice, but like we should all love and respect the hyphen more. But we ain't got to be like these weird assholes who tried to brainwash me. Sorry about that. I'm better now. Now it's just I do weird dances.
That's him getting it out of
That's
the
I
system.
got to get it out of the system.
Then the last thing we always hit you guys with, of course, is just the email.
This is where all our new friends can come and talk to us and send us their suggestions on what kind of stuff we should talk about or drink.
Or their art.
Or their art.
Or their stories if they want to help us deepen the lore.
Yeah. You want to go give Riddick Rat some backstory or Commander Pop Culture or something. It's a fun place to go, our email address.
And so it's KentuckyFriedCritics@gmail.com. Again, all lowercase, nothing special there, just like the meta stuff.
Yep, and we check it all the time, so don't worry about not getting
if you leave a message there, if you leave a message anywhere, I'm pretty quick to respond.
I'm bad at it, so it's a good thing he's here.
Yeah, but that's exactly why the both of us have control of these things. Is so that way I'm really good at it, but maybe if I forget one and falls through the cracks, and 3 weeks later, Bo might be like, I've been staring at that one for 3 weeks. I'm going to do something.
It's like, oh yeah, I should probably make this number go away in the corner of that icon. What is that?
So just know that we will take care of you. If you guys want to message us, if you want to contact us, we are some guys that have a lot of free time to take care of something like that. We are not going to ignore you by any means.
Yeah, we're nerds, obviously, so come talk to us.
I would say that wraps up our socials. Before we get going any further, let's just hit them with what we're drinking this week again.
We're drinking the Mirror Twin Brewing again. We got For the Record. It's a spring lager this time.
I don't know about you, but I forgot to do the small amount of homework that we both gave ourselves, that we were like, we're going to find out what a spring lager is.
Yeah.
Did you look?
No.
Me neither.
I have no idea. It's
I think that
springy.
It's not to say we are guys that enjoy beer. We're not saying we don't enjoy beer. When we say we're not beer guys, we just mean we're not the type of guys.
We're not snobs about it.
Which rolls right into the movie, right?
Yeah, we're not these guys.
Yeah,
with what they do.
Yeah, we're doing High Fidelity.
Come on, there's a big clue. There's a big record on the front of the freaking can here.
And if you were paying attention in the picture,
in the post, yeah, we had another clue down there in the corner. If anybody was paying, the literal title of the movie is down in the corner of the picture.
Yeah, we tried to make this one the biggest clue we've ever given away
without
in our
like
announcement.
A big arrow
picture.
pointing at it, like clue.
We usually say more about the beer, but Bo gave me the perfect segue to hop onto what the movie was there. Yeah. Because we're not beer snobs. We're not those type of beer drinkers. That's what we mean when we say we're not beer guys. We're not insulting the people that are. We're just not. We're not
going to break the whole thing down and spend hours researching the brewery.
But I can tell you
ingredients and shit. We're going to drink it and tell you whether I like it or not.
And I tell you what I taste.
Yeah.
Yeah. So far, right after cracking it open, I wasn't super impressed. That's what I'll say. The very first taste, wasn't super impressed. A couple of sips in, better.
Yeah.
On that note, we will definitely go ahead and roll into the movie and talking about the movie. So before we start, again, we'll talk about who's in this. It's the great John Cusack.
It's John Cusack.
I have a deep love for John Cusack in multiple eras of his career. I love 80s John Cusack. He's in some really great ones. He's in Say Anything. He's in Better Off Dead. He's in a few great 80s movies. But he also had a big resurgence in the 90s with this is in the 2000s technically, but we're splitting hairs.
It's literally 2000 when it came out, so it was probably filmed in the 90s.
But he also did Grosse Point Blank and some other great ones. He had a resurgence in the 90s where he played a lot of really cool characters that I also loved. I love John Cusack. This is, however, probably my favorite. He is a douche. He's a tool. And I forgot how much of a douche and a tool he is.
That being said, this being a funny movie when I was in high school.
When you look past the parts of him in this movie that are a douche and a tool, I love the way he delivers lines. You know what I mean? It's not so much. It's not the
sardonic tone that he has.
It's not Rob himself. It's the way John Cusack has perfectly encaptured this kind of guy. I know people like this guy.
Yeah.
And it's so perfect. Maybe that's what it is. I feel like I need to defend the reason why I love him so much because he is
a dick.
I came into this like a lot of movies. Some of these are movies that are things that I love and have loved for a long time, but you know how it is. If you've loved a movie and you watched it 1,000 times at a certain point in your life, you start thinking I don't need to watch it again. I know this movie.
I know this movie.
And so you don't revisit it for a long time. This is definitely one of those movies. I probably have not revisited it in at least 5 years, probably way more than that. I'm just giving a bare minimum. It's been 5 years since I watched it. And I forgot, like, again, I knew he wasn't the good guy. I remember that. Like, I mean, if you've seen the movie, you know he wasn't ever the good guy of the story.
No, he's an asshole.
I did not remember how much
of an asshole?
How in almost every scene you are reminded, like, he's the douche and he doesn't recognize,
he doesn't know it,
that he's the douche,
that he's just the worst kind.
He is the problem. I think that's what my notes say over and over again.
Yeah,
he
mine
is
too.
the problem. He is the problem. Rob is the problem. Why doesn't he see he is the problem? But again, this is my favorite John Cusack, despite all of that.
Yeah, I might have to say this is my favorite one too.
There we go. All right.
The only other one that pops in my head is the Say Anything movie.
All right, let's move off of John Cusack. So also starring in this movie, before we really get into anything else, we have a young Drake Bell. Did you notice that?
I saw him.
Since he is in the news and in the media right now. Super young Drake Bell. Like, this is like
before
when
the Jake and Josh started or right at that time?
When. Yeah, like he is definitely like the character is 14, I think is what they tell us at the time.
He's in 7th grade.
Yeah, well, he says 7th grade, but then he says 14, and I'm like, I was way younger than that in the 7th grade.
He seems like a slacker reject kid. Maybe he was held back.
I wouldn't put it, but now that you say it, makes sense. Young Drake Bell, he is just playing the young version of John Cusack. That's the main reason I figured we'd go ahead
throw
and
him in.
Drop him right now, because it's all the same guy.
Give him his credit for like 5 seconds. He's in the movie.
I mean, he's not this. By no means am I listing these people in like order of importance or anything like that. It was just a funny connection to the main character. Then we also have Laura, who I would wager to say is the other main character, despite actually not being on screen that much, right? Like, I mean, her character is important.
But she just kind of comes in and out of the movie.
She's played by, forgive me, this name is crazy.
Have fun with this.
This is Iben, I-B-E-N. I'm pretty confident that. Well, actually, I'm going to say I'm not confident.
I'm not confident.
I feel confident. I don't know I'm right at all. Ivan. The last name is Hjel. Hjejle. Again, guys, I'm not trying to be that person. You guys do with that what you need to. I don't know how to pronounce
Anybody that does know how to pronounce this, please let us know.
Well, again, in your message, I don't know how you're going to tell me. Are you going to record a
fucking audio message if you have to? This is like phonetics.
Yeah,
how you say it.
Because I'm not going to pretend. But yeah, she is probably our secondary
female love interest.
Moving on from there, we have 2 people who work in the record store. That is the main focus-ish of the movie. Set piece of the movie. That's a good way to put it. And so that's going to be Todd Luiso as Dick.
The only likable character in the movie. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. He's the only likable person in this movie.
And he has a look like early 90s Michael Stipe. This actor has always just looked like that to me. If you were to ask me, if you stood them side by side, I might struggle to tell you which one was Michael Stipe and which one was Todd Luiso. But as this is a music-focused movie, it kind of worked for him.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it totally does.
The other person that works in the record store, Jack Black.
The legend, the myth, the man.
Well, and this is before. That's like what's great is like this is a movie where he does a lot of
Jack Black.
What would be today, you would just be like, that's quintessential Jack Black.
Yeah, he's just himself in this movie.
He got paid to do the things he does.
Yep.
But this is before.
This is way before that.
This is him getting to showcase some of the things that will make him famous. But at the time, he might have even been the nuisance on the set.
Yeah, they might have just been like, why is this guy in this fucking movie?
There's no telling. Because again, this is just at an early enough point in his career. He was not the guy commanding, you let me do what I want. You let me be this silly fucking guy.
This is before Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny and all that stuff.
This is early Jack Black for sure. This is not the earliest.
This is Soul Patch Jack Black.
Yeah, this is not the earliest Jack Black. But yeah, exactly. Soul Patch and like weird messy hair. Yeah. Again, this is 2000s Jack Black, right? I mean, I would say this is just prior to School of Rock.
Yeah, this is before that, but after Mars Attacks.
If we're gonna start name dropping, it's also after The Neverending Story 3, where he was like the bad guy.
I saw that once.
I know. Well, I'm just saying,
a long time
if we're trying to show off, and this is a movie about snobbery and showing off, I will show off.
All right. All right, Barry, calm the fuck down.
Also in this movie that bears reference is all of his ex-girlfriends. So we're just going to do this really quick. The most famous of which is obviously Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah.
She was Charlie, but we also have Lily Taylor as Sarah. We have Joelle Carter as Penny. We never see Allison other than as a young child.
Yeah,
so we're not worried about that.
We're not really worried about her.
The last three people that I really want to mention, not big parts from any one of them, but they each are people that I want to give the shout out to. So one, we have Lisa Bonet. She played Marie DeSalle, one of the Cosby kids.
Yeah.
Man. Gotta love the Cosby kids.
You gotta love the Cosby kids.
She also, during, and she might have already split up with him by this point, but, you know, she also dated Lenny Kravitz. So it gives her the music cred.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, they had a kid together, and her kid, I do believe...
she's an actress now, isn't she?
She's an actress, and I do believe she was in the TV show remake.
On Hulu.
Yeah. But then the other two people we've got John Cusack, because I love this about those two.
They're always in each other's movies.
If they are in a big enough role in any movie,
yeah,
the other one is also going to be there. It's awesome.
Yeah. Like, hey, you got to get my sister a job, too.
Siblings got to look out for each other. Oh, man, I was wrong. Tim Robbins, small scene. Small, I mean, several scenes. Small part.
Small part, but
he is the biggest douche in the world.
I know. He's so sleazy.
We'll get into that more later. But then the last person that I want to mention is Sarah Gilbert. Did you notice this?
I did. It was Darlene.
Roseanne. Darlene.
Motherfucking Darlene.
And again, another really small part. That would be all of the big people that we really need to mention. I would say that's all of the people.
Yeah, that's most of the cast.
Despite the fact that it's a record store and we see some random people come in and out.
Characters.
Yeah. The next thing I wanted to talk about before starting the movie. This is another movie just like SLC Punk that has my favorite type of fourth wall break.
Where he talks directly to the camera.
Well, not even that. That's just what a fourth wall break is.
Yeah.
I don't care about that. It's the type of it. It's that he talks to us as if we are, you know, like
in the room
we are
with
in
him.
the room with him. Other people aren't seeing us. It's not just that he's talking to like, because, you know, like
it's not like Zach on Saved by
Zach
the Bell.
Morris is not
like
talking
pausing,
to us.
everybody just freezes.
I love the creative fourth wall break. I don't enjoy just talking to talking to the generic.
Right.
I love this, like finding a creative way for the person to be talking to us, the person. Right?
You don't want them just like looking over their shoulder at the camera being like, this is stupid, am I right?
Yeah, like that's
that's
good.
dumb.
All right, I think we can get into the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we have anything. I don't know if we have anything else at this point.
Got your favorite kinds of fucking intros, man.
This is dope.
Music.
Well, and this
just
is
starts
great.
with it.
And this being a movie about a bunch of music snobs, I won't tell you guys any other person, any other band, but this again, we start off with this one, and this one definitely has the least amount of talking over top of it. So I will hit you with who this one is. I did have to look it up. So by no means...
You didn't know this one off the top of your head?
No.
Okay.
Did you?
Fuck no.
Okay.
I listen to heavy metal and stuff. I'm not this kind of music
psychedelic
person.
rock. That's what this is. It's like a psychedelic anthem rock or something like that. This is 13th Floor Elevators. You're Gonna Miss Me.
That's a hell of a band name, and I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of it. I mean, again, if you were to look up the soundtrack for most of this movie, it's just going to be that
fucking
way.
like deep cut.
Yeah, it's deep cut.
It's music snob music.
It really is. Like we said, we're not beer people. We're not this type of music people. We can't comment on that. We're here to comment on the movie because we're movie people.
We're movie people, and we ain't even movie snob people either.
No. Well,
I'm not. No. I watch all kinds of
crap. I'm not
a
snob, but you know me. Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm not a snob, but if we're going to talk about this movie, I could talk about movies the way Rob and these guys talk about music 100% though.
Oh, yeah, I could too.
Part of the reason I probably enjoyed this movie so much when I was like, 16, 17 when I got a copy. I bought a copy of this movie and nobody else had ever told me I just seen it and was like, man, that looks right up my alley.
Sounds like something I would like.
I always envisioned myself being like the Rob of movies. Like the way he is with music.
He is.
Like when we see the music collection that's in his apartment, like I wanted
to have
a movie.
The wall of VHS tapes.
We don't exist in a world where that is a thing anymore, but that's how I and you know me. At one point, I had DVDs.
It was
like I was on my way to like slowly getting.
But then everything moved to streaming and now move life. Everything's in boxes.
I definitely feel like maybe that's part of why I relate to him so much, is because I feel the connection on the hobby level, not on how he is as a person level.
Oh, yeah, on the hobby, on the music,
on the way you can get lost into your hobby.
Yeah.
Like this. Like I get lost into movies the way he gets lost into music for sure.
Who would I be then in this movie? Because I'm not an asshole about it like Jack Black's character. I think I'd probably be Dick.
You'd be the quiet one.
I'd be the quiet one that's
You'd be the one that's like,
I know all this stuff.
I'll make you an illegal copy of this movie.
Yeah, I was like, I'll bootleg it for you. You'll really like it. It's a Japanese movie.
Check it out.
Sometimes the subtitles kind of blur a little bit.
Whenever you've got time, like no rush. I mean,
I'd be that fucking guy.
I feel like this kind of snobbery is something I don't have in my life, but I am so close to that I understand.
I could be. So you have to be pressed into snobbery, is what he's saying. He's like, it's not a normal base level.
No, but I mean,
if you want to play this fucking game,
I have the knowledge.
He will out-snob
I have the knowledge for it. I just don't have
the willpower.
Well, no, I just don't have the desire to be that way. Because again, mentality-wise, I'm a lot more like Dick. I'm the guy who wants you to be a part of the things I enjoy, not the guy who's like, I want to keep everybody. I'm not a gatekeeper.
Yeah, you're not a gatekeeper, and you're not going to get mad at people for not knowing things like Jack Black does.
I'd rather be the person. I love being the person that gets to share that information with you. If I get to be the one who gets to fucking see your face when you find out some jaw-dropping piece of information about a movie, I love that. I'll be that guy all day, every day. I find enjoyment out of it. Whereas in these guys, like, find enjoyment out of the dickery, right? Yeah. Like, their enjoyment is not the thing itself. It's out of being this way
they want
about
to mock
the thing.
The people for wanting to be a fan of something. It's like, how are you not already and don't already know all of these things? You're not a fan. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, so as the movie opens, we get to see a few things. We see that he is a guy who loves music. We're seeing that
he's sitting there. He's got his setup, his headphones on, and he's just jamming his tunes, talking to the camera.
He tells us he loves making these top 5 lists. Yeah, it's such a weird thing for them to tell us.
It's a recurring theme throughout the whole movie.
It is, but it's very weird for them to set it. I guess if they didn't have a line that said it, it would feel weirder when he started doing it, maybe.
Top 5 most memorable breakup songs.
Which is our little bit of an intro into the fact that's what's happening. That's
what his girlfriend is leaving.
You barely know that. You barely know that until he says that.
She's just kind of walking around
you're
getting
just like,
stuff.
Oh, okay,
and he's like,
listening to music.
She's just pissed, looking at him kind of pissed off. Like, he's ignoring her, so she's pissed, right?
And then
but no, she's leaving.
Yeah, she's leaving. And then he even says, in the world, again, talking to us, he's like, and in the world of top 5 breakups, she doesn't even make the list. And he stops from talking to us to open the window and yell to her,
right?
You don't even make the list.
You really wanted to mess me up. You should have got to me earlier.
I loved that moment. Again, that's that blur I'm talking about with the fourth wall, right? Like where he was talking to us and it reminded him of something he wanted to yell at her.
Right. He just goes and he just turns the music off and yells out the window at her.
It's that blur, that moment where it really makes us feel like we are there. Like we were part of his conversation. It made him remember that he wanted to yell that.
We're just hanging out in the room very uncomfortable as this couple breaks up like, oh, God,
oops.
Damn, I shouldn't have come over tonight. Fuck.
Then as soon as he tells us, as soon as he yells at her and says that, you know, you should have got me younger, that gives him the perfect segue to tell us
the top 5 most memorable breakups.
And he starts with the youngest.
Yep. Allison Ashmore.
Grade. 7th grade. Junior high. Just specifically.
Junior high. They used to make out behind the bleachers.
They dated for exactly 6 hours. 2 hours every day before the Rockford Files started.
For 3 days. But on the 4th day, this is where we have our Drake Bell cameo.
Yeah, Drake Bell.
He's the one
he's
making
this
out.
version. Yeah, he's this version of Rob, the young version.
The kid Rob, having a good time under the bleachers.
On the 4th day, though, he shows up. Kevin Bannister. Fucking Kevin.
I love his friend just dinner, just slut.
Well, not for nothing, but you gotta feel kind of bad if you're Rob, right? Because we gotta assume we've only seen a small bit of Rob on screen so far, but
we don't know him yet.
If you've seen the movie and you're coming back to it, you know the kind of like self-centered, like full of himself kind of guy Rob is, right? And so if you think he's already that kind of guy at 14 here, then you know it's an extra blow to his ego that Kevin Bannister looks like a nerd.
Yeah,
right?
He does.
Like,
he's kind of a nerdy kid.
He is a cookie cutter. He's
nerd.
Yeah, he's meant to be that. We're supposed to be seeing that it should be a blow to little Rob's ego.
He hangs out in the computer science room.
This just starts us off on our tour of the fact that Rob always feels slighted. Yeah. Right? This is what really he says.
It's like, this is the beginning of every relationship after this had a version of this exact same thing happen. He hooks up with a chick. They go and find somebody else.
It's also our biggest clue to the fact that maybe it's not them, right?
You think?
If it's happened to you a lot of times,
maybe the common denominator is me. Hey, I mathed.
Yes, you did. Very good.
Thank you.
If it was even division, you're not good at that.
I'm doing great.
Proud of you. And this is one of those moments, though, again, like as a younger viewer, I don't know if I immediately took away from that phrase. But this time as an adult viewer, the second he said that, the second he was like, this was the beginning of multiple times, I instantly was like, you?
Yeah, sounds like you're the problem, man. If it's the same thing every time, maybe you ought to look in a mirror.
It definitely sounds to me like you are the issue, not these girls, not the girls are.
Right, because it can't be that you're meeting the exact same type of girl every time.
He immediately lets us see his next flashback, Penny. Girl number 2. We see these flashbacks. These flashbacks are like a movie of their own. Yeah. Right? Like we could just see these by themselves.
Yeah, and it'd be its own little movie. We could do like the romance movie, and it'd be a nice, funny, like rom-com bullshit. And you could just do the movie with the guys in the
store, in
the record store, and you'd have 2 full movies, but we smashed them together.
Yeah. Right now, though, we move to girl number 2 before we even get anything else. Like because girl number 1 was such a fast story.
It was just girl makeout session in
three
middle
days
school. It doesn't
done.
matter.
3 days done.
But Kevin stuck with me.
Poor fucking Kevin. God damn it,
motherfucker. Bannister.
But so then we see Penny, and Penny, the story of Penny,
she's way too good for him.
She's too good for him. She doesn't seem like the kind of girl that
would talk to him,
or that he would talk to.
Right? It's beyond the fact
beyond the fact that he tells us she looks attractive. Nothing about the type of girl she is seems like the kind of girl he would go for. Right?
Right.
So it seems like it was doomed from the get-go. It was never going to be. It was never going to be.
It was never going to work out.
And that's fine. They were teenagers.
Yeah, they were like
teenagers,
16.
young and dumb. You're going to date people that have
shit,
nothing to do with long-term, because that's just what life is. That's fine. But then we see he is the problem.
He is an asshole.
He is constantly trying to get into her. He's trying to grab her boobs,
touch her tits.
He's trying to get up her skirt. He won't leave her alone.
To the point where
that he chases her off.
Yeah, and he's just like, she tries to kiss him. He's like, what's the point? Never fucking goes anywhere. And then walks off, and I'm like, wow, what a fucking asshole.
He is the problem.
Has the gall to get pissed off that she turned around and had sex with her next boyfriend.
Well, he broke up with her.
Yeah,
he tells us everything.
He went to go, he broke up with her because there was some chick that they said would put out who didn't. It's like, well, yeah, because it's high school. It's how that works, man. But then she hooked up with the next dude she got with and stuff. I was like, yeah, that was your fault, dickhead.
Well,
it gets worse later. We'll get into that.
We'll talk about that later. But yeah, I mean,
from right now, the perspective on it is like, it's still your fault.
Well, yeah, well, not even talking about that. Our perspective is definitely not. Our perspective is, dude, you're in the wrong.
Yeah, you're a fucking
even
dick.
Now, he just becomes more wrong
later. You're way even more. You have no idea the amount of problems you caused later on. It's like, hey, you were such a dick here, but
but the problem is now
the butterfly effect of how much more of an asshole you're going to be later.
Well, the problem is that right now we're even hearing his version, and I still am like, no, dude, you were wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong.
You're the asshole. You're the 100% the problem in this situation.
Poor motherfucking Penny. I felt so bad for her. She's the only one of these people I just like, God, I feel so bad for this one.
We don't know, as in we've not been given evidence that he's not a reliable narrator yet, right?
Yeah.
But we can already tell by the fact that he is telling us a story that he thinks would put us on his side.
Where we're already like, you sound like a dick.
And we're already like, I'm not hearing your story.
Questions.
Yeah, I'm not hearing your story and thinking you're right.
Right? Like, I feel like you're leaving some shit out to make yourself look good, right?
Well, even if it's not even that, like the story he tells me doesn't make me feel that way.
Pennies, like that's
what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Allison. Fuck Allison. I'm specifically talking about Penny. Like, I'm just saying the words he said to us that he thought would make us agree with him, make me say,
put out, so fuckers.
Yes,
like, no, you're a dick, dude.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying he thought we were gonna be on his side with that story, and that story made me go,
"This is not how you babyface yourself.
It's
man.
It's not looking good."
No,
that's my main.
You're just sitting here, it's like, oh, this sounds scummy, dude. What a dick.
Well, and the movie knew what it was doing, right? Like they knew that there was no way to accurately tell that story without us being like, dude, you're the bad guy.
Yeah, you're an asshole.
So instead of going into the next story immediately, they were like, let's take a break and see the record store.
To the record store and introduce fucking Barry and Dick.
And so first we get introduced to the record store itself. Championship Vinyl. What a name. I like it. Signs falling off. It's in
looks jank as fuck.
Looks like it's in the hood.
I would hang out here.
The second he opens the door, I was just like, I miss this aesthetic. I miss this rundown, janky, things are in totes
and shit.
I love that, and I would go shop there in a heartbeat. Give me a guy who's just like, look, I was able
threw up some shelves.
I was able to scrounge up last month's rent.
Right,
I've got this place until I can't afford the rent in the middle. I love that. It's definitely a thing of its time.
Yeah,
you're not going to find that anymore. Yeah, you're not going to find that anywhere anymore. I loved everything about Championship Vinyl. If you would have called that a movie store,
dude, if they were,
I would have personally lived in that place 100%.
We would have been Barry and Dick. They would have hired us because we were there all the fucking time.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like they would have just been like, well, we
hired them for the weekends, and they just came in every day, and it's been 4 years.
Exactly like you said about Barry and Dick. I hired them each for 3 days a week, and then they just never left. It wouldn't be that way, 100%. Yeah, so we meet both of our guys. We get Dick. Dick is the quiet, reserved type of snob.
Yeah.
He, although might be a music snob, is still the nice one.
He's the one that wants to bring more people into it.
Because as we see right now, it's just him
talking about like this new...
trying to tell Rob, like, have you listened to this new one?
Thing?
You've listened to this other one by them.
Remember I gave you the tape and shit? And he's
like, remember the album cover looked like this? Then he goes, oh, wait. I just gave you the tape. Never saw the album cover.
Because I just made you a tape. That's right.
I'll go ahead and make you a tape of this one too, though. It'll be okay.
Yeah, and he's just like, okay, cool, man.
So again, he's the nice kind of snob.
Yeah.
The next person we meet, again, that's Barry. Jack Black. He's totally Jack Black. He walks in
just
the
being
door
himself.
From second one, he is modern day Jack Black in a movie. Again, just keep in mind, this is before this was understood to be the norm from him.
Yeah.
This is when you still hired him to be an actor.
Yeah, no, it didn't hire him to be Jack Black.
But here he is.
He's being just being himself.
Top-notch Jack Black. This sets us up for the kind of snob he is. He is the kind of snob.
He's going to relentlessly mock you if you don't know every single detail about whatever you just mentioned.
And they're both snobs about different types of music too, right?
Like, so
Dick is the snob for
the deep
indie bands.
The indie bands that nobody's heard of.
Yeah, you've never heard of them, and they probably inspired bands
Other bands to do, like, oh, you like Green Day, you'd like these guys. They used to listen to them.
Stiff Little Fingers. Oh, we'll get to that when we get to
scene.
it. But Barry is the type of guy who loves a deep cut from a well-known artist, right? Like he likes telling you, again, you like the Allman Brothers, but he's not going to hit you with the stuff you heard on the radio. Right. He's going to be like, oh, how about this one on this album that nobody ever talks about?
It was recorded on an old jukebox in his great-grandmother's house. And he's one of those guys.
You get to see this world. And it's true. Again, like as
these
someone who's seen
really
a lot
exist.
Of it. And they are, you'll find the people.
In every fandom, there's these guys.
You'll find that kind of snobbery too, where like they're both snobs. They would both call themselves snobs. It's kind of a miracle that they hang out as much as they do because they are different types of snobs. They both love different things in that same world, and they don't really overlap. There's no crossover here in that, because again, if one guy loves indie stuff and the other guy's like, no, I love the mainstream stuff, but just the stuff you didn't hear.
Yep, I got the Black Sabbath basement tapes, like the 30-minute long version of War Pigs.
So it's very, very different worlds here, because the one guy's like, no, I want the stuff that literally like you've not heard of the band, and the other guy's like, no, I want the stuff you've heard of the band, but you've never heard this cover.
Yeah,
this
you've
version.
never heard this version of it.
It's very interesting to see, especially when you know people
who are like this. Yeah. especially in like anime and Star Trek and other fandoms.
Oh yeah,
and
no.
stuff,
If you are
kinds of
into
this shit.
any fandom, I don't care
Yeah.
what it is. I don't care if you're into
football.
I was just about
to say some football people are nuts.
It's exactly what I was going to say. If you're the kind of guy who's so far into football that you've got like your fantasy league,
They know all the stats, like how many yards
I
dudes run
promise
a
you-
season and shit. It's
promise
crazy.
you know the same kind of obsessive people.
Yeah.
You know the people that have an obsession over this type of thing. You know the guy who's obsessed about the actual numbers. You have a guy who just loves watching all the games. You have you know,
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying? Like there's
We're
gonna be
all nerds, man.
but we're all a nerd of it in our own way. And so these guys luckily found each other and found
Right. See, look, we can all come together.
found Rob's
in
store
our nerddom.
and found themselves a safe haven.
Right? Just get together and accept each other's nerd.
As soon as we see this as the place they're at, right? It looks super slow.
Yeah, there's like nobody in this store.
And well, right now,
Yeah.
the rest of the movie it almost
was
always
full.
packed. But they set us up in the beginning to think between the way it looked
Like
outside
it was about to close.
and the way it is right here.
Yeah.
And it's not that.
He even says something about I'm broke because
Yeah.
he made fun of that one guy for
But it
trying
is-
to buy something.
It is not that. This place is
No.
is very
Very
busy. Other than this very opening scene,
You thinking the writers couldn't decide whether they wanted him to be a failing record store or
I have
not?
no idea. I have no idea. I do love the entrance for Jack Black's character. When Barry walks in, it gives you a good setup for who these guys are,
Yeah.
right? Like we've already said, Dick is very quiet,
Yeah.
reserved.
Yeah, reserved, a little awkward.
So he's playing some fucking Belle and Sebastian. I'm not a fan. I apologize if you
super
people are.
It's chill music.
It's not chill music. It's
I
depressing
guess.
music. So when Jack Black kicks in the door and starts singing and having a
Fucking
great
walking
goddamn
on
time,
sunshine and shit.
I was like, yes, this is what the day
Yep.
needs.
His Monday mixtape that he made.
I wanted to see what your top 5 Monday mixes.
It was supposed to be a conversation starter. You ruined it.
But yeah, he comes in the door with the exact like feeling that I have about the music. He was like, "Sorry,
Dude,
I
what
couldn't
the
deal with
fuck
your
is this
depressing, sad state. Like I figured I'd hype up a Monday."
Right?
That's how I felt.
Which is what you should do because Mondays suck anyway.
Exactly. And that's exactly my point. Like I felt this scene to my core because I was like, Jack Black's right.
Yep. We got to bring the energy up in here, guys.
And so he does. He gets shot down by the both of them.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't-
going.
Rob is indifferent.
Jumps over the freaking counter to turn off the fucking walking on sunshine.
I think though that Rob was indifferent to Dick's music. I don't think
Yeah,
he
he's-
cared
he
one way or
just-
the
he
other.
didn't give a shit.
But he didn't want happy.
No.
He didn't
Because his girlfriend just left. He's like, I can deal with the whatever the.
I can deal with
fuck
the
was
depression. Well, he
happening.
was okay with depressing.
Yeah, depressing
He was
is
depressed.
fine. I don't want happy right now. Fuck you and your sunshine music. I want
anything-
dark gloomy
yeah,
storm clouds.
Anything but happy.
Right? Anything. I want something I can ignore. Right? That's what he says.
This scene though does really set up the group dynamic of these guys, and I
Yeah.
love it. Because this is maybe more real than when you watch like a bunch of jock guys in a show when they're trying to show
Yeah.
like this is masculine.
Oh, then
hanging out.
hanging out in the locker room.
This
and shit.
is more real. Again, they're almost the same. I get to like maybe to a woman that's outside and never experienced anything like it. Like they would say it's exactly the same level of toxicity between the two. I would say is where the difference is. Yes, these guys are fucking bagging on each other left and right.
right. Super hard.
There is no actual animosity to
No.
it. Whereas, and I would say typically when you see the jock version of it, there is actual levels
Yeah,
of
because they're
animosity.
kind of trying to test
They
each other.
are actually
who's going to try and step up.
nobody in these three
This one's
really
just,
cares.
we're
They
all
are just like
friends.
bagging on each other because
Yeah.
they are aware that they are all sad, pathetic
Yes,
people in their own right.
We're all losers, so we can rag on each other, right?
But they do go fucking hard sometimes. They go
Especially on poor
so
Dick.
hard.
Poor Dick takes it more than anybody.
I do love it. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, because again, you see it as a guy who's not ever been part of the toxic version of it.
Right.
Like I see this and I'm like, nope, that's true.
Yep,
That's
that's
real.
exactly what we do.
Where there's always
we
you're
just
gonna
rip on
bang-
each
yeah.
other.
See who can say the
See who
nastiest
can
thing.
say the meanest fucking
There's
thing
no
to each
meanness
other.
behind it. Again, this is probably one of those reasons why, despite the fact that we said Rob's a horrible guy,
Yeah, he's an
and I don't
asshole.
know why we might. The moments like this, it's so real.
Yeah.
There's so much
There's
realness in this
yeah.
movie. It's not all cookie cutter like Hollywood fakeness.
Because it's
this
my
is
friends.
very
it's
real.
my friends in high school.
They
They did this shit.
yeah.
It was just movies and D&D.
Yes, exactly. For me, it was the 100% movies for sure.
Right.
Like, I was definitely doing this with movies. It gives you what a real slice of like real friends hanging out might be.
You rag on each other. We're all the same kind of nerd, basically, but we have different ways of going about our nerddom.
All right. Now that we've had our break from our countdown for a little
countdown,
bit, we
go-
had our nice comedy.
A little comedy segment.
Let's get back to our breakup list.
Yep. Back number 3.
Charlie Nicholson. He says she's the best.
Yeah.
But then he proceeds to start telling us she definitely has a big personality, right? Like, that's the real kicker here. She's a big personality. And instantly, as soon as he starts talking about, like, her, I could tell he does tell us this almost immediately after this. You could tell from how he started talking about her that he had put her on such a high pedestal that he was never going to live up to it. And that's exactly what we find out happens.
Yep.
He did spend a long time with her.
It was like 2 years.
2 years.
He dated her for 2 years.
And 2 years in college is a long time.
And he just never got comfortable. Just
No.
always felt like he wasn't good enough.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You could tell from the second he started talking about her, right? That's where this was going. Because he was like, oh, she's this.
She's
oh,
incredible.
She's that.
Everything that comes
I
out of
could
her
never-
mouth is so
and this,
smart and
and that.
intriguing and all this other bullshit. It's like, come on, man. Nobody's that good.
Yeah, right? You could tell. You're just like, dude, come on.
Smart and funny is one thing, but like those are some big fancy words to use.
And so, again, much like Penny, where you can, again, with Penny, we could tell he was the problem.
Yep.
Right now, I can't tell you that he was necessarily the problem, but I could tell you,
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
yes, he is going to lead to the reason why this doesn't work out.
Yep.
It's not going to be her. Even if he tells us it's her.
He's gonna work himself into this. It's gonna just drive him nuts to the point where he makes it happen.
And then that is what he tells us. Again, he still tells it to us, not hearing that himself.
Right.
Right. But we do.
Yeah,
As
we
soon-
hear it because he's like, I was always worried she's gonna like leave me for one of her like office friends and stuff.
Or no. Design friends.
Or
'Cause
designer
She was a
friends.
design student in
Yeah.
college. She was going to leave me for one of her hot design friends.
And then
like
she did.
Marco.
Like Marco. And I mean, we see Marco for a second. He's a big
ripped.
jack dude.
He's ripped. But dude, even the look that you get from her from when he was yelling at her downstairs is that look of like,
You
you
did
set this up.
man.
He's probably the one who mentioned Marco
Right.
to her.
He did. I guarantee.
And put that thought in her
he
head.
planted the seed because he was probably out talking to your fucking friend Marco. Or
Right.
some bullshit because he's insecure.
This is one of those times where I would love to talk to the person who set this up for the movie, right? Like I
Right.
would want to know, like, did you want us to take away already that he's
he was
wrong?
Or were we supposed to be
because-
on his side in the beginning?
Because you didn't do a good job if we're supposed to be on his side. Because
Right.
like I'm a guy.
and I'm over here like, you're a dick, man. Like,
And
you
I can
didn't-
still see this and be like, no, I see the problem, and the problem was never her. Like
so far, you've done everything incorrect.
yeah, like at no point was I thinking, all right, way to go, Rob.
Yeah, sorry, or felt bad, like, oh yeah, that was completely out of your control. There wasn't a thing you could do
Yeah.
about it, man.
So far, I've just been like,
Dude, what
Rob,
the fuck?
you're a douche.
Yeah, like these were all simple decisions that you made incorrectly,
She was just too much woman. She was independent. She could do things on her own.
and he was
All of the
intimidated
things
as
that he
fuck.
couldn't handle. Right.
Right.
Exactly. And again, those are his problems. Those
Yeah,
aren't hers.
That's his fucking problem.
That's not
no
her
wonder she
problem.
went to Marco.
Well, and then what does he tell us? You got to punch your weight.
Yep, I learned.
He
I gotta
learned an
punch my
important
weight.
lesson.
He's like, I'm not a heavyweight. I'm a middleweight. I was like, wow.
Which is insulting, not only to himself, right?
Right.
Because it's insulting because it means that you think poorly of yourself. It's insulting to the next person you try to date because you're insulting them.
Yeah.
You're saying, I don't think highly of you,
It's like,
which is
oh,
why I think
you're more in my weight class.
which is why I think we can work because I don't think highly of myself.
Yeah, I hate weight classes.
Well, I just hate-
It's a stupid concept in fighting, and it's a stupid concept in dating.
It's super stupid here. Because
Yeah.
like I said, he already admitted he thinks poorly of himself. So he's admitting, I'm going to pick someone I don't think highly of.
right, because I'm crap too.
So I should
So
pick
we
someone.
should be crap. Should be with crap, right?
Oh,
Don't think like that, guys. He's an asshole. Don't believe in Rob. Think better of yourself. Shoot for the stars.
Isn't this the line where he gives us the I always preferred Cash by Johnny Cash?
Oh, he's like, look, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I'm not stupid. I read books. I read the Love in the Time of Cholera. I know what
And
it's
this
about.
and this, and
it's
I
about
think
girls, right?
just joking. joking. But me, I always preferred Cash by Johnny Cash.
Yeah, that's the greatest book in the world ever written.
I love that line. I thought it was so funny.
I did write that one down.
I thought it was so funny because it's just like, all right, fair enough. This is another one of those moments where I don't agree with the things he did. I do agree with the sentiment of what he is saying right here, with just the part right here. I'm an educated person. I've read books. I have book smart. I don't don't know if that really means anything. Like what he's saying. Like, does that mean you're smart? Does it mean he's stupid?
I'm quote unquote smart. I'm stupid though. I routinely be like, no, I'm dumb as fuck.
So like I said, like,
dumb as fuck.
This is where I come from with the this is my favorite Cusack, right? Like, it's not the stuff he says about relationships. He's totally wrong. He's a jackass. But some of the fucking lines he gets about like life in general or music in general or like how you feel about your fandom. I'm like, yeah, no, he's totally right with this.
He's good. He's a good nerd, but a terrible boyfriend.
Yeah. His relationship skills need working on.
He really does.
Yeah, so now we get another cutoff, right? Laura calls, derails story time for us.
Yeah, she wants to go get her stuff out of his apartment while he's at work.
Yeah, wants him to not be there, so that way she
doesn't have to deal with
the argument.
Yeah.
So this is the first time we really hear them interact after we knew it was a breakup, right? And it sets the tone for us for every time they interact through the whole movie, which is that I agree that they shouldn't have split up. They are both very flirty with each other until he gets the point. Every conversation, he gets to the point to where he gets upset because he's reminded of something that upsets him. Again, Rob is the problem.
He is the problem.
But she comes at every conversation still very cordial, very flirty, very much trying to be like, look, I'm trying to open the door
so we can still be friends at least or something.
Communicate in some way. And it starts off every time like that.
And then he gets
upset about something. Whether it be something real or something imaginary, he gets butthurt. Sometimes, I mean, I've got it both ways. I got some times where I'm like, no, he's right. He should be upset. But I've also got plenty of times where I'm like, no, he's an idiot.
You're an idiot.
That was just a normal human being conversation. There was no reason to act that way. Okay, sorry. Had to get that out there.
No, it's fine.
Had to throw that out, and it brought up some deep hatred and anger for a second. Rob really is the problem.
Right. It's all his fault. You just kind of want to reach through the screen and smack him a little.
Yeah. But you really do, though.
The longer the movie goes and the more you learn, you're just like, God damn, man.
No, yeah. This is another time we get a nice little interlude break.
Yeah, we get a little break. This is comedy from Jack Black over here.
Barry and the dad.
And the dad, he's like, I want a song for my daughter.
No, this is outrageous and sets up for you the outrageous level of snobbery in this music store. The dad says, do you have this one? He says yes.
Yeah.
He says, yes, of course we have it.
Can I have it? No, because that song sucks dick. And you're an asshole for liking that song. Do you even know your fucking daughter?
He says it's a sentimental piece of crap. And you think we sell sentimental crap here? You just said you had it.
Right. He even confirms they don't have it.
I know.
In a second. After he leaves, he's just like, we don't even have it anyway.
But if you had it, why would you not sell it? Why would you have it to not sell it?
Right. Just to be an asshole. Just to put one more little lock on your precious gate to protect your fandom from the outsiders.
There's no way she likes that fucking song, man. As he's walking out the door.
And fucking the dad just turns around and says, fuck you, and leaves.
Now we get to the point where, again, like we said, camaraderie, friendship, you can knock each other all you want. For some reason, it seemed, and we know why.
Yeah.
He still hasn't told them about the breakup. They don't know.
Yeah, they don't know yet.
But Barry comes at John Cusack for the Cosby sweater.
Right.
Great line, since we know there's a Cosby kid in the movie. But the Cosby sweater line seems to be a step too far. And Rob loses his shit.
Goes over just shaking fucking Jack Black. He fucking just like, if you tore my... This is vintage. I'm going to punch you in the nose.
He takes off out the door. And then finally...
I liked Dick during that scene. He's just like cringing over in the corner.
Well, because he doesn't like violence.
But he's still trying to help. He's just like, come on, guys, stop.
He doesn't like violence, dude.
Break it up.
He can't deal with that. He can't deal with confrontation.
Right.
It's not even violence. It's confrontation.
His reaction just cracked me up.
Well, it keeps going too, because now Rob goes into his office.
And then Dick
walks up. And as soon as he gets in there, Rob's like, look, me and Laura split up. Can you do me a favor? Please tell Barry next time you talk to him. Proves it's not the violence and it's the confrontation, right?
Yeah.
Because you can tell how uncomfortable Dick is with the thought of having to go tell Barry this. He's like, yes, of course, I'll tell him because I have other things I have to tell him, and I can add that to the list of things
that I have to tell him when I go tell him the things that I need to go tell him.
And I'll make sure that he knows that Laura, yes, and you, of course, split up. Yes, I'll tell him when I tell him the other things.
Thanks, Dick. Appreciate it.
So uncomfortable when it comes to confrontation.
He's about to like faint.
He was
going
gonna pee his pants
of going to just tell Barry like, hey, he's pissed because him and his girlfriend.
Yeah, it's got not you,
not a thing to do with you. Because,
it's just not a good day for this kind of banter.
And sometimes it's not, man. I mean,
but if you don't tell him,
I know, and I've done it. I've not told my friends things and then just randomly gone off.
Well, but here's the key. I've been that person too. But once you snap, at least have to say it then. And
then you gotta tell him.
You gotta tell him. You can't send Dick the messenger to tell him. Rob needs to go tell Barry himself. He needs to nut up
should
and say, dude, look, I'm in a bad place because this is going on.
Well, but that would mean taking responsibility for your actions.
This is why I'm saying the Rob is the problem.
I was going to say the theme seems to be he does not like doing that.
Well, Rob is the problem is the theme.
Yeah, that's what this movie should be called. Rob's the problem. He goes home and Laura's there to get her clothes.
That's right. Well, it's barely a scene.
Or something.
Yeah, it's barely a scene.
Yeah. Then we get Sarah.
Yeah.
Girl number 4 on the breakup list.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. It is a scene before she's there. That part is barely a scene. I still stand by that. Him talking to her, because it's just them getting upset for a split second, right? Like, I do want to talk about the weirdness it was of him pondering on the fondness of sniffing girls' underwear.
Yeah, that was weird, because as soon as he like gets there, he picks up some of her clothes and just sniffs them, and he's just like, underwear.
And it does.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
It's only there because they bring it up again later.
Good underwear for sex or something like that.
They bring it up again later, right?
But I'm like, but you just sniffed those.
It was
freak.
so.
If you're into that, fine, but it's weird.
Yeah, so then we go to the next girl. This is, if you're keeping count, number four on his list of top 5, Sarah. And he tells us these two matched.
Yep, because they're buddies in pain. Fuck relationships. People suck.
Yeah, because you're both wallowing in despair.
Right? And you don't want to do it alone.
They can both just be themselves. Together,
miserable pricks.
Yeah, exactly. And so again, this proves Rob is the problem, right? Because Rob's upset about her because she
finds another guy.
But I would say that they were in perpetual like
fuck buddy mode,
right? Like they were always in rebound.
Yeah,
right?
they're
neither one was trying to say this is a relationship. This is just like a holder space until relationship.
Yeah,
and then he got mad
when he first describes it. That's what it sounds
exactly
like he says.
That is both the way he described it to us.
It doesn't register in his head somehow.
No, it's not even that. That is both how he described it to us and what he was saying to her in the flashback.
Right.
So all around, past time him thought that, present time him thought that. It's ridiculous the level at which he's upset because he wasn't the first. If he'd have been the first.
Yep. If he'd have left, it wouldn't have been a problem.
It'd have been fine. And she wouldn't be on this list.
Nope.
It's so outrageous, the way he thinks about everything.
But he's just so betrayed. It's like, you betrayed the whole reason we're doing this is because we hate fucking relationships and shit and blah. It's like,
but again, it's like, no, I thought that it was just because you guys were in a place. You guys both acknowledged we're in a place where that's how we feel.
Wasn't a permanent state of being. Like,
right?
You even... said that earlier. This is what happens when you talk and don't listen to yourself. You say stupid shit. This is why everybody should record yourself and go back and listen, and then so you can tell whether you're doing stupid shit like we do.
Then while he's talking to us about this one, we see that he is knee deep in the middle of reorganizing his records.
Yeah, he's got them piled up everywhere.
And we don't know what kind of new one it is. We do know, if you paid attention to the background shots, that the last one was alphabetical. Because you could see the W, you could see the letter tags, right? Yeah. So we know that that's what it was. We don't know what he's changing it to until Dick comes by.
Until Dick comes over.
Dick walks in, and it's so funny because you can see like the light of joy in his face
so happy.
As soon as he sees that it's being organized, right? Like
he's like, oh,
he didn't care. He didn't need to know more,
right? Like
he gets even more excited when he finds out the crazy quest of organization that he's on. But he didn't even need that to be excited. When he just saw them on the floor, and knew that they were being organized, he was like, oh, I can stay here with you.
I was gonna invite you out to like do some stuff with me and Barry
to go see this chick, Maria DeSalle. Yeah, it's the first time she gets referenced. referenced.
Yep, first time she gets mentioned, and then it's the weird, like, so is it you doing this like alphabetical?
Yeah, I don't. Well,
chronological?
he even says, well, I know it's not alphabetical because he's probably been there while
before.
it wasn't alphabetical. Because he's like, so then is it chronological? And then that's when he hits us with the autobiographical. I wanted to do this with my movies so bad. But again, this is so fictitious.
So hard.
There's no way you could do this.
No, you'd have to have an eidetic memory.
Well, because he says stuff, it just gets to be whatever you want, though. That's the real purpose here. Because it's autobiographical. You get to put things where you feel like they make sense. The only thing is the example he gives us would definitely, the one example he gives us is stupid specific. That's not saying that's how everything there would go. That's just saying specifically that one.
It's a very specific example.
He says, like, for instance, I can tell you how I got from this to this in less than 25 turns. And he says, or like this stack, which is for albums that I bought for someone else but never gave to them in 1983
for personal reasons, which implies that there's
also
another pile of
for business
albums
reasons.
he didn't give them for business reasons.
Well, he owned a record store.
No reason. And I just kept it just cause.
Then again with the ill-placed phone call.
His mom?
Right?
His mom calls.
This is such a crazy conversation because she is way too upset about his relationship.
Super upset. She's not even upset that like he might be upset. She's upset that he's
just
ruined
upset at
another
him. She
another
is
relationship.
just upset at him. She's just like, I can't. I knew you were gonna do this. I knew you would do it.
I knew it was gonna happen. You're never gonna get married. I'm never gonna have grandkids. And he's just like, thanks for not giving a fuck about my feelings, Mom.
Well, needless to say, this conversation is what inspired him to actually leave that night. Right?
Yeah,
Like he was like,
go.
fuck, I'm not gonna do the records. I gotta get away. Mom fucking drove me out of this, and so he goes to the club that he got invited to by his friends.
Right.
Go see Marie DeSalle.
I love when he's walking in, he walks past the bouncer and he's just like, is it Peter fucking Frampton?
Fuck him. I love Peter Frampton.
He clearly does not.
I know, but
I like this song too, the one she's singing.
I love her version of it.
Right? It's really good.
But I love Peter Frampton.
But Rob
Fuck
does
him.
not. Rob does not like Peter Frampton.
But then he walks up to the other guys and he goes, I hate this song. But now I love it.
I like it.
But they
the
agree.
hot chick is singing it.
They agree to both parts. He says, I used to hate the song. And they're all both like, yes. He's like, but now I love it.
Yeah. Like they're all just in trance.
They are
just like,
overly infatuated with this girl, right? Like
She is
super
cute.
crazy.
She is cute.
They quickly let us hear that it's not even just her. It's that they're all infatuated with the idea of a musician.
Yeah, it's
right?
like
Barry says, I want to date one. And then instantly fucking Rob is like, I want to live with one.
she can write music all day and have me listen to it and I can critique it.
They can leave us special notes in the liner notes, like
Right.
special messages in the liner notes.
Maybe
Oh,
use some
man.
of our inside jokes.
It's creepy, dude. It's creepy.
It is. It's weird.
The amount of like instantaneous like fantasy happened the
Right.
second they saw her.
Spray him down with some cold water, calm him the fuck down after that thought.
But they do get to meet her after
Yeah,
the
they go and
show's
buy a
over. They buy the
CD
CD.
and
They
shit,
tell her about the store.
Barry
I love
is
listening.
telling her about
well,
the
it's
store,
so
man.
funny too. Like they're telling about the store, and both Barry and Dick start naming off every genre of music. Like she's like, "What kind of music do you sell?"
Oh, we got
and then to try to make sure she would
blah,
show
blah.
up, they're like, "This."
We got
trance,
all of it.
Trip hop. Like you're like, no, there's not. There
not.
is no trance or trip hop in that store.
Nope.
I almost guarantee it. The next scene we open with is the next morning, him hearing the message from Liz.
Yeah, because she found out about the breakup.
Joan Cusack.
Joan
Yeah,
Cusack.
This is when she's still not on anybody's side. She's supposed to.
No, she's like, I'm your friend too. And like, I like you guys together and all this other shit.
And we never get clarification on this, right? Like who she is to the two of them.
No.
Because I have a problem with I'm both of your friends. The only way that works is if she met you as a couple. But even if she met you as a couple, unless she was also in a couple, the power dynamic would say she's still going to be Laura's friend.
Oh, yeah.
And if she knew you beforehand, then she is your, regardless of her becoming closer with, she is becoming a traitor.
It's also true.
I don't like saying a statement like that from someone. I want more clarification on how she knows them.
But she's just boasted their friend.
I know. That's not okay. That's not enough information.
It's not enough. I need more. I want to know how they know each other. But no, it is annoying that that's all we kind of get.
Yeah,
because it's just like I'm both of your friends.
Yeah, and then Laura shows up. She thought he wasn't going to be at home.
Yeah, because that's what they called about earlier, and he just decided to take the day off today.
Well, now, in all fairness, if we see the chain of events and we're to believe everything that happened, it might seriously have been a coincidence.
Yeah, it might have been.
Because if this is supposed to be the night after he stayed out late when he didn't think he would stay out late,
with the boys and
maybe
shit,
he really did oversleep.
He probably is hungover.
And hungover. We don't have enough context to know. That being said, Rob is the problem, so I can go ahead and assume Rob is the problem. And that he did do this intentionally to be
definitely
uncomfortable with her. Because he definitely starts hitting her with all the uncomfortable questions.
Mm-hmm. Immediately.
Again, she's being almost flirty, very cordial.
Yeah, she's being nice and stuff.
Until he starts getting uncomfortable.
Well, I mean, she basically tells him, like, I wasn't the reason we weren't happy.
You are.
You make yourself happy.
Change.
You're the one who needs to do it.
It was a fine conversation until he starts being accusatory. He starts accusing her of being a problem. You didn't like your job. I like my job.
You're like, what was it? She's like, you're the one who hasn't changed your socks since I met you.
And she tells us through the conversation without saying the words. The main problem here, especially with the job, is she had to change for the job. She didn't have pink hair anymore, right? Although at a point we never saw that in a flashback.
Yeah, she never. The flashback, she should have had pink hair.
But yeah, he says, you had to change your hair, and he didn't like that she had to be someone different for the job.
Yeah.
He never took the time to find out whether she was okay with who she was now or not. He just wasn't okay with it. He just
didn't like it.
So again, Rob is the problem.
My punk rock girlfriend went corporate.
Right? Rob is the problem.
Yeah, that's that snob mentality right there. It's like, oh, she's not part of the scene anymore.
People can't look at her and tell.
Right.
They'd have to talk to her.
They'd have to actually talk to her to know what kind of music she's into. They won't be able to look at her band t-shirt.
Oh, it's true though.
I mean, we all wish we could just go to work with our Slayer shirt on.
Then we get the gatekeep scene in the store, right? The next one is when they're
like
hardcore
gatekeeping because they actually have the fucking album.
Their friend is there, also in the story.
Yeah, Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis is he's just kind of watching all this go down, right?
Yeah, he's just hanging out.
He sees one guy pick up the album to buy.
Right,
it's in his hands.
Looking at it.
We even hear it's the second week in a row he's been here to try to buy the album.
Barry's like, nah, I'm not doing it. I can't sell it to you, man. Sorry. And Lewis is just like, oh, I'll buy it. And then they sell it to him for like $40.
Yeah, they're like, okay.
He's like, well, why the fuck would you sell it to me and not that guy? He's like, because you're not a geek. This is where Lewis calls him out. He's like, you guys are fucking snobs. Like, no, we're not. He's like, yeah, you are. You think you're smarter than everybody else and you know more than everybody else. And then they all look like, well, yeah. I love this fucking scene. Because they're all in unison, just like, yeah, we are.
It's still not realizing the amount of hypocriticalness that's going on, right?
Just like, right over their fucking head. And Lewis is just sitting there just laughing his ass off like, you guys don't even see what kind of douchebags you are.
And this immediately gets followed up with, if you hadn't realized how infatuated Rob has become with Marie DeSalle, you start to, right? If you're paying a little bit of attention, you know that he immediately left her show and put the CD in when he got home, right? We saw that from the night before. Now we see that he is carrying the CD with him and puts it in at the store.
Work. Andy has the little flyer with the picture.
Liner notes. I think that's supposed to be it's the both. He's got the liner notes open and then the flyer beside it. Too much. Yeah. The dude is going too far.
A little bit.
Oh, especially because think about it. He knows that his two buddies went to the show. They're also infatuated. He knew there was a copy in the store.
That's true.
His copy could have stayed at home.
It really could have. But he carried his own personal copy.
It's a subtle thing that if you know these type of people, you can see the level of like infatuation he's already got. It's almost bizarre. And then that's when...
Yeah, it is a little weird.
That's when we get this moment. He's on the phone with Liz, right? He finally actually talks to Liz. He calls her. He's talking to her. And during the talk, she's talking to him. She tells him, like, look, you need to chill out with all this. Like, she still wants to talk to you. I still think you're a way better person. I definitely think you're a better person than Ian.
Who's Ian?
Well, he didn't even have time to process that thought yet. Because as soon as he hears her say Ian, we have Dick burst through the door, right?
Maria DeSalle's in the store.
And he's just like, so you see this like double freak out on his face.
Yeah, it's like
one of anger and anxiousness, and then one of like excitement.
Yay, like, no.
And so he tells Liz he's got to get off the phone. He runs outside and he's still holding the flyer
with her
and her
Andre the Giant face on it,
and her music
is playing on the thing. He told Dick to turn it off.
He said,
"You should turn the music off."
He's like, well, Dick said it. Dick said, maybe we shouldn't be playing her music. He's like, turn it off. I know.
Right? It looks creepy.
Well, actually, before he even gets a chance to, he talks to her, right? And she says, I kind of like it. You should turn it up.
Turn it up. And he's like, I will go do that.
But I got to take care of something else, too. He literally just runs out this time.
Yeah, he just runs out on her.
He doesn't.
We never go back to Maria in the store. That's it. Yeah. That's all it is.
And so
he goes in the back room, and then we get the what fucking Ian guy.
Well, as he's walking down the street, which means he literally left right after talking to her. Yeah, exactly. He finally processes that moment. He's telling us, he's like, there's no Ian. She doesn't know an Ian. She lives in an Ianless world. And then he stops.
The mail.
As he's walking upstairs at his own apartment
building. Raymond, or Ray to his friends. Or more importantly, his neighbor. She left him for the weird guy who lived upstairs.
And we see this moment where he's showing us a couple of flashbacks. The only two takeaways you need to know is that we hear the guy listens to weird fucking music. Right?
Yeah.
Weird drum beats.
Weird fucking cultural music.
Yeah. And two, that he has lots of long sex sessions, right? Like tantric,
really
tantric sex sessions.
Because they're reading in bed and you can hear them upstairs and they're cracking jokes about it.
The only reason I want to point these two things out and nothing else, and we'll go ahead and just flesh this out right now so that way it's not like the elephant in the room the rest of the time we're talking about them, is that as far as we know, those are the only two pieces of information that either Laura or Rob knew about him, Ian, before she started living with him after leaving Rob.
That's it. She did this on purpose.
So
just
again,
to hurt him.
Well, we'll elaborate on more of that in a moment. I just wanted to point that out. As far at no point do they ever tell us that they knew more than those two pieces of information about this guy.
They don't even go to the same gym or something.
Yeah. It's literally that's what they knew about him.
The weird guy who lives upstairs. That's it.
Now, this is the moment though where we find out it's Tim Robbins. He is definitely playing a very douchey looking dude.
He has the weird.
He's got this is
ponytail.
This is a man ponytail, and this is before they were in any kind of way cool.
I mean, I got a ponytail, but I rock it.
Well, and this was a weird one, right?
Yeah.
It's big,
his
bushy.
Hair,
it's bushy too, right?
Like a little foxtail on the back of his head.
And then he's rocking the triple earrings in one ear. He's got seven rings on every finger.
The big chains.
He's definitely supposed to be that weird version of, it's like a hippie, you know what I'm saying? You get what I mean?
Proto hipster.
Yeah, something you know what I mean? He's into new wavy, new agey things.
I have crystals.
But he also has a lot of really expensive shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He's got cheetah print Jaguar fucking covers in his fucking car.
He definitely sets up the look of Ian. Is very much that he's the douchiest douche of all douches you'll ever see.
He has a huge Steven Seagal collection, like I said earlier.
We now know that this is who Laura left him for.
Yep, she's living with that guy.
It's the only problem I have with what Laura has done. Rob is the problem.
He is definitely the problem.
So she was very valid in leaving him. She was very valid in everything else.
I agree.
The choice, and again, we know Rob is an unreliable narrator. So for all we know, we don't have the right context. Maybe she did talk to Ian more than what he sets up for us. But if we're just going by the information that Rob has set up for us about Ian, then it is a very fucked up choice for Laura to choose him. Well, and he moved out. Did she choose him before or after he moved out?
Right?
After, because it was six weeks ago. Unless the beginning part of this movie took place in a lot more weeks than we realized since we saw them split up.
Yep. He has the whole night thinking of them having sex.
Oh, no.
And he's just like, you're not having... No one in the entire world is having better sex than you are
literally
with
for
Ian.
A moment was
In my head.
For a moment, he literally was he got sick.
He's in the dream mental image he's having. She's already got an Ian tattoo on her ass.
I know, dude.
Shit.
It's just dude.
It's dude, calm down.
Way too far.
It's the very comical sex scene with Tim Robbins.
But then that's when he quickly tells us that she has now become number 5. Number 5 with a bullet.
With a bullet, because he put that one bitch there just so she wouldn't place.
And that was earlier. And now after finding about Ian, he can't overlook it any longer. Even just to keep her out of the list. He can't overlook it.
Nope.
If
Welcome
anything,
to number
she's
5.
If anything, I think she's moved to number 1.
I do too.
Although I
'cause
think
you
his
seem
list was just chronological. I don't think it was supposed to be like.
It really does seem that way. Where it's just in
because he
order.
does. Well, that's what happens. Right? He rocks down
Yeah.
chronologically. Although
I
that
would've
being said,
done
I
it
would
in-
have loved to know more about the girl we skipped. He never even goes back as like an addendum. Nope, nothing.
Nothing. How'd you meet?
Nothing.
Why'd she leave?
Jackie.
Jackie, what? Jackie Redmond or something
Yep.
like that?
Jackie. She's the one that we'll never find out about. It's the thing that haunts me at night.
It does. It keeps me awake. I want to know. I have to know what happened to Jackie. What kind of a dick were you to her?
The next moment in the store of just a girl talking to Rob as he had zoned out at the counter. Do you have soul? Do you have a soul? Not
No.
a soul. Soul.
No.
It was so funny though to hear it because you know he's like,
Currently, no, not right now. I think it got stolen. Right.
last night was a bitch, bitch.
It was a bitch. Yeah, it was rough.
And then Liz busts into the store, right? And she just screams at him.
You are an asshole.
And then it turns like nothing else. No
Just
time for him to
nothing,
respond.
just turns
Turns
leaves.
around and leaves. I loved that. It was so beautifully crafted. It was so
says
perfect.
Hi. He comes in, he's like, "Hi, Liz," and she's like, "Hi, Rob."
Now-
You fucking asshole.
And Rob will quickly get to why this is the point. We get a little bit before we get there. But I'll say right now, Rob is the problem. The fact that this bitch came in and both in the sequence, he does not have a problem, nor yell at her, nor stop her, nor say anything. And in the commentary to us that we now know, because he breaks the fourth wall, is actually to us. Does he try to be like, that was weird?
No,
or that
he's
was
just
strange?
like- he's just
I
like-
wonder why she said that. None of that. None of that comes up.
She must have talked to Laura.
That-
Is what he says.
If
And
that-
she might have told him 2, if not all 4 of the things that happened.
You're skipping. We're not even there yet. That was my point. Like, we're not there. That happens after we're about to get the first little bit is the flashback.
Oh,
First
where
we
he
get
meets her.
how he meets Laura.
That's
then
right.
he
I
tells
did
us
skip. I'm
like,
sorry.
oh yeah, now back to that. That's even how he tells us. He's like, now back to the whole Liz thing.
Yeah.
But you are right. I mean, I'm not trying to downplay that. We get some time to let that cook of just how
her
fucked
just
up
calling him an asshole.
and the fact that he's talking to us. The flashback is him talking to us. At no point is he like, that was really weird.
Nope, that was nuts.
I wonder why she
I
said
wonder
that.
why she did that to me.
The fact
I
that
thought we
it
were
takes,
friends.
the fact that he's got the time to tell us this flashback first before he addresses why she might have did it, Rob is the problem.
Oh yeah.
He knew he was the problem. That's why he was in no big hurry to tell us, I know why she did
Yeah,
that.
it's like, I'll explain that in a minute, but you all need to know how I met Laura first.
They were in that mixtape making kind of love, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because he was a DJ. It's like, I'll make you a tape.
It was so good.
It's so cute. He even like put a lot of work into it. He's up all night.
And then he basically he goes over the relationship. It was all great, all good in the beginning.
He didn't
basically
feel anxious.
And so then there weren't any hiccups.
So
and
he had to ruin it.
So he got complacent.
Yeah.
And he didn't like complacent. Like he was like, oh, I was expecting tumultuous something.
yeah, something weird. Like it's got to be.
Yeah. It's got to be
drama.
It's got to
or
be
it's not
extreme
real,
or it's not right. Yeah. No. Now is when he tells us Liz must have talked to Laura.
Yeah.
And if she would have found out any 2 of
the
4
4
different things, she would be valid. Any 2, fuck that noise. Any one. All of these are
Any one of
horrible.
these are
all of these are
fucking
horrible.
bad.
He cheated on her.
First off,
After cheating on her, she had become pregnant. Her finding out about the cheating is what caused her
to go get
have
an abortion, which he then yelled at her for the whole like
because he should have rights
yeah,
and say so.
it's my kid. Blah, blah, blah.
Despite again, it was his actions that caused her to feel the way.
Yeah, no, there's none of these make him look good. If you thought he was a dick before, now you're
forgetting.
Really
You're forgetting the middle one of the 4.
what was it?
After the abortion, he borrowed a large
Oh, yeah,
sum
it
of
was like
money,
$4,000
$4,000 from Laura, and never paid her back, which I have a problem with. We don't know how long they were dating at that point, but we can assume quite some time. I know that they weren't married. They don't have to share a bank account by any means. But it is weird to be like, the person I live with loaned me $4,000 because A, they would know what you're spending it on immediately.
Right.
And B, if it was something stupid, immediately be like, okay, you can start paying me back.
Yeah, they would definitely be like, hey, I gave you $4,000 for that
Right.
stupid ATV.
Right, exactly.
You're gonna
Like-
fucking pay me back.
And so if it wasn't for something that he actually needed, and we can assume it wasn't for rent.
maybe for the record store.
Maybe. But you
Maybe,
understand my point
something.
here, though? Like, it seems very strange for that to even be in the the conversation.
That's the least of the 4, though, if it makes
Really,
you feel
yeah.
better. Like, it's like, okay, you borrowed money, didn't pay it back.
The other 4
You're a
are
dick. The
way
rest
worse.
of them are just like, oh, man, I'm going to kick your ass. That's fucked
No,
up.
the other 4 are
Really
way
fucked
worse.
up. Cheated on her while she was pregnant, which made her go get an
Well,
abortion and then yelled at her for it. Fuck you, man.
Well, we already said we knew he was the problem. He is an asshole. He
just
is.
didn't realize how much.
He is a problem. As he even said it. He finally says it this time. He's like,
I am a fucking asshole.
I am the fucking asshole. He is the fucking asshole. Now, he does bring up, though, at the very end, the possibility of the fact that she set him up entrapment style.
Oh, yeah,
Not like the movie,
where he's
not
kind of trying
Catherine
to explain
Zeta-Jones
his side
entrapment.
of it.
Yes, but she asked him the
lawyered
question.
me.
Yeah,
She tricked me into admitting I wanted to talk
Well, because
to
she
other
said the
women
same
shit.
thing. So he's not wrong. He's an unreliable narrator. But if his version of the events are true,
Yeah.
she said, I've thought that. What about you? So I will agree with him. That makes it very fucked up to then use in a conversation with her girlfriend. It doesn't ignore the vast other wrong things
bullshit
that Rob had done. But I do agree with him in at least the fact that last conversation was fucked up and a setup.
She lawyered him because she's smarter
Again,
than him.
if the conversation had not been, I feel that way, what do you think? It's different. Like if she had just said, what do you think about that? And he then was like, well, I think I've been looked. That's different. So like I said, I get where he's coming from on the one. Only the one.
Only that tiny thing.
We are talking about an ant on the mountain
of other
problems,
fucked up
right?
shit
Like,
he's done.
I'm not trying to buy.
I will grant him this one
Yes,
boon.
I'm not trying to defend the man in any way. I want to make that very clear.
That one I'm going to let him pass on.
Yes, that one is by no means his fault.
But this is what leads him to have the whole like, what's wrong with me?
Well, he's sitting
thing.
on the couch. He's having the epiphany.
Right.
What's wrong with him? He's looking back through his old shit. He finds a random thing, right? And it's got Allison's phone
It's like
number.
his like old address book or some
the
shit.
fuck does he have that?
How do you
from
have
when he
from
was 14?
fucking 14 in
He
like
is
the
in
80s?
his mid 30s, 20 years before. That's insane.
That explains why her mom picked up, though. I
Oh,
guess
100% explains why her mom
I didn't even
picked
think
up.
of that till just now. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that's why her mom
Because he
picked
was
up.
calling her parents' house.
yeah.
Sorry, we got ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
we didn't even say that.
The girl number 1
Yeah,
on the
girl
list,
number
if you
1.
remember.
But he calls Allison to try to find out why.
Why she went and made out with Kevin, whatever the
Bannister.
fuck. Yeah, Kevin Bannister.
And the mom answers, and he's like, "Oh well, you know, I was her first boyfriend." Mom vehemently argues with him about this. She's like, "No,
My daughter married her first and only boyfriend, Kevin Bannister. And he's like, no, technically it was me.
And then mom says one of my favorite fucking lines. She says, "I don't even know what you mean by technically."
But it means that I was there like
It was
couple days,
me.
like 2 days before I made out with her. So technically I am the first one, me. Right here. He's so adamant about it.
Oh, okay, Bob. That sounds nice.
I gotta go now. I fucking called him Bob.
How crazy would that sound to you? For 20 years, your daughter
Right.
has been telling you she's never had another boyfriend. Honestly, because her daughter, Allison, probably doesn't consider him a boyfriend.
No, just
right?
dude, I kissed one
A couple of days,
times.
right? It was 3 days for 2 hours a day.
I feel like Rob may have got a little overly attached as a 14-year-old.
Rob is the problem.
Rob is the fucking problem.
Rob was.
This movie should just be called Rob is the
It
Problem.
definitely should be. At no point was she ever interested in him the way he thinks, and
her.
he was interested in her, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and he's that way with all of them, really.
all of them.
Every fucking
All
one of
of
them.
them. That's the
Especially
problem.
Charlie.
Charlie is the
Charlie
worst.
is on the top of the
well,
fucking pyramid.
we're about to get there. We get to hear it in real
Oh, yeah,
time to him because
yeah.
he even tells us. So first, he just talks to Allison. No plan to keep this going. It was just her,
yeah.
right?
And she's
But then
off
he has a
married.
drunken hallucination of Bruce goddamn Springsteen telling him he's on the right path.
You gotta go and talk to these bitches, get a little closure. Then you can tell them goodbye and so long and all that shit.
Did Springsteen know what he was doing a cameo for? Because I feel like Springsteen
he was just hanging out in
wouldn't
his
say
studio.
that this is a good message, right? Like that
No.
doesn't feel like a good message. I wouldn't encourage a guy to do this.
I wrote in my notes, I was like, he lays back and gets some terrible advice from a
Definitely.
hallucination of the boss.
It's true, dude.
This is not a good idea. Don't ever call your exes and ask them why they broke up
And
with
so
you.
this starts our rundown, right? So now the movie shifts gears. Like before we were seeing flashback. Right?
Now he's like meeting
Now
back
it's
up
like,
with them.
hey, you've seen these flashback girls. Let's talk to them today. So again, Allison out, doesn't count. She's in Australia. Mom said don't talk to her.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to tell her.
I'm not even going to tell her you called. Then we're going to go on to Penny.
So next one. Penny. We told you in the beginning, guys, Penny was rough the first time around. Penny's rougher this time around.
Second time around. Oh my God. He doesn't even remember that he broke up with her.
Well, I feel like he vaguely might have mentioned it the first time, but again, he didn't give it the weight that it deserved.
It's just
he didn't give it the soul crushingness that she felt from it.
As a 16-year-old girl.
So that's what she tells him. She says, after having a good date.
They were having a great time.
They went on an actual date. You could tell she felt like this was maybe a chance to rekindle.
Get him,
Again, not even saying that like she thought they would start dating, but at least a chance to rekindle, a chance to do it.
There's a shot here.
And then he shoots down that thought with like, let me hit you with some hard-hitting questions. Why did you leave me? And she's like, let me correct you. You left me.
You left me. I wanted to have sex with you, but not when I was 16.
You would never stop. You were relentless. It was tiring. By the time you finally left me, again, you left me, and the other guy showed up, I just didn't have it in me anymore to fight him off.
So
it's not called... These are literally her words. Again, I'm going to be careful.
Call it grape.
Forced sexual encounter.
Yeah, that's what we said term. I remember now.
So she says that it was not necessarily a forced sexual encounter, and I feel horrible. Women should never have to say that phrase.
You should never have to qualify things like that. If it is, it is. At any point want it, it is.
So
even if you're halfway through it and you change your mind.
So she then continues to give the worst reasoning ever that I don't agree with, and she doesn't agree with. She's trying to rationalize it.
Yeah.
And so she even says, like, I only said yes because I had no fight left.
Yep. I just was like, fine, whatever. Let's do it.
So, yes, sir, you are a human pile of trash for coming to talk to me about this tonight.
Like, she wouldn't even, like, she hated the idea of sex until after she was even out of college. She's like, that's when you're supposed to have sex. Fuck you, Rob. I agree. I'm with Penny 100%.
We said earlier.
That's the worst.
He was wrong about Penny when he told us earlier. He's 10 times more wrong now.
Yeah, he is. It's like you want to kick his ass now.
Oh, definitely.
It's like,
she has deep emotional scars.
And it's your fault.
And he's such a narcissist. He still doesn't understand.
He's just like, oh, good. That's not something I have to worry about. I broke up with her, so it's not.
Yes,
it's not.
No
the thing
focus
I'm thinking
on
of.
the second part of that conversation.
None. Just only on there, like, oh, that's right. I did break up with her, so she doesn't really count for my whole mental thing I'm doing
is
here.
The problem,
and a complete and utter narcissist. Fuck,
yes,
man.
My notes have narcissistic all over them. He quickly tells us he's not man enough to talk to Charlie.
Yep. We're going to skip her for now. We're going to go straight to Sarah,
who is still in a bad place.
She is nuts, and I kind of don't blame him for dipping out.
She smiled when we saw her tell him about the new relationship in the flashback, right?
Yeah.
It's the only smile we saw her have the entire fucking movie, dude. She didn't smile before that point, and she doesn't smile now. She is
broken
in a way that he was never going to fix.
I don't think anybody can.
And so, she says she's seen a therapist. Not
she's
helping.
on experimental fucking drugs and everything.
He needed to get away. It's good that he got away. He says the same. Although, could have left it at that and been okay, right? Like, I wouldn't have judged him for saying that. I mean, it's still kind of fucked, but then he has to take it the step too far, right? He's like, that's a woman I could have slept with.
Yeah, I almost could have slept with that.
It's dirty.
You're an asshole.
Fucked up in the most fucked up ways.
You want to hit him a lot of times in this movie. There's at least 5 or 6 times where you directly want to slap Rob in the face for some of the shit that comes out of his mouth.
Mm-hmm. Then
why do we like this movie again?
I don't know. Look, we came into it beginning the conversation still saying the same thing, and we still said we like it.
I know, it's weird. And somehow John Cusack makes this character charming in the moments where he's not being a dick, where you're like, cool, this is great.
I don't know if anybody else could have pulled it off.
And there's the comedy from all the other characters and shit. Like,
I don't know if anybody else.
No, it would not have worked with anybody else.
All right. Speaking of comedy, we got one tiny moment, then we get another we get a nice comic interlude. Before we get there, he pulls out the phone book. Right? He's looking for Charlie.
Yeah, now he's ready
because he got nobody else. Well, he's not calling Laura.
Yeah.
So he's only got Charlie
left, and after Sarah, he's like, okay, we're gonna try Charlie here.
She's in the fucking phone book.
She's in the fucking phone book. There's no way she's in the phone book. She is a fucking myth, a legend, a unicorn. She's not a real person. See how high on that pedestal he fucking puts her?
It's outrageous. No wonder he thought he was never gonna live up to her.
I love this part. He's like, I'm gonna leave her a very nice, polite message on her answering machine, and she'll never call me again. And then that's it. That's kind of
that's
whole
what
scene.
That's how you think it's gonna end.
Yeah, that's it. And we're like, I'm like,
we come back to it.
I can believe that. We're like, you're never going to hear from Charlie again.
But we get our nice comic interlude. This is our Green Day moment. Sarah Gilbert, she's up at the counter. They're talking. She says she likes Green Day.
And Dick's just like, hi, another band you might like. They influenced
Well, they
Green
both
Day.
said The Cure, right?
Yeah, The Cure.
They both said The Cure first.
Which is true.
Very true.
If
certainly in the look. Like early Billy Joe.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Looked very much like The Cure, right?
Yeah, with the eyeliner.
The way, and the way
kind
he,
of spiky hair shit. He didn't really go with like the choker collars and shit.
But other than that, like very similar kind
painted
of
nails.
So you definitely get that. But so this movie, and I will say, I'm a sucker. I'm one of those people. I did not go home after owning this movie and look up every single one of the music references they make. But I was a Green Day fan.
Me too.
In the mid 90s. And so when they were like, oh, this is a band that helped inspire Green Day. I was like, well, I got to find out.
Gotta figure out who that is.
Stiff Little Fingers is a band that he suggests to her. They give a very early kind of Green Day vibe, right?
Like 95, 96 Green Day.
Oh, no. Green Day's been around since 89.
Oh, really?
Kerplunk and 10,000 Mates. We're going to talk about this after the fact.
You're older than me.
I was still 4 in 89. So that does
I was 1.
But neither one of those explain why I would know. I'm just telling you, they're Dookie came out.
Dookie, that's where I started.
Well, Dookie came out in 94.
Was it really?
And it was their third. It was their first major studio album, but it was their third album, period.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So back to what we were saying. So Stiff Little Fingers definitely sounds like Dookie pre-Dookie stuff, right? Like it does not sound like what would have been coming out in 2000, which makes the point that happens next stupid. Yeah, he puts on some Stiff Little Fingers, and some random bitch in the fucking store goes,
"Is this the new Green Day?"
And we get Anna with the weirdest spelling. Did you have captioning?
It
on?
was like
ANAUGH. Anna. But still Anna, just Anna. They even give each other like the
look like
these people, even though she just got told about them seconds ago.
Yeah, just a second ago.
That's snobbery.
But even
that's real life level snobbery. I've seen that level of snobbery. Like someone to be instantly like, I just found out about them. But you believe these guys don't know who they are?
I mean, but even me for 2000, I was like, that don't sound a thing like Green Day.
No, it sounds like early. It sounds like
super early.
It does not sound like the era. No one was going to make that statement. No one was going to say, like, is that the new? They might have said,
is that Green Day? That
for her to look at him and say,
is that the new Green Day?
Fucked up. Stupid. Not real.
Get out of here, bitch. Gate closed to you.
Exactly. They would have kicked her out of the store right then and there.
Barry would have went off on her. It's a good thing Jack Black wasn't in this scene.
Now is the point where we get to see how the store stays afloat, if you ask me, right? Like I mentioned earlier, for a store that they act like is
going out
empty
of
all the time.
Almost.
This place is packed.
Yeah, there's like 40 people in this tiny little store.
And John Cusack whispers to Dick, watch. I'm about to sell 5 copies each of 3 different EPs by this band. That's what he said. So you do that math. He's selling 15 records right now. That's what he says. Minimum.
In like 30 seconds. All he does is just
he plays one track. It is beautiful.
The whole store's vibing, right?
It was kind of a jam.
It was. I liked it. I was
bouncing my head with the people in the store, bouncing their head.
Me and the dude, the guy who looks up and just
he looks up and he's like,
who is so and so?
No, he doesn't even does it. I don't think he says, is it somebody? He just looks up and goes, who is this? And he's like, oh, it's these guys. All right.
Nice. And I'm like,
you got that?
Yeah. He just sits there and then he looks at Dick like, yeah, I told you.
It was good. But yeah, to me,
this is how they keep the store open.
That moment shows that's how they keep it
Rob just has this like sixth sense.
He's got like 7 albums that are his go-tos. And he's like, I can sell some right now. This is the vibe.
I got the right group.
Right.
Right now, they're gonna jam to this
because again, it has to be something he has multiple copies of, which is not everything in their store. Now, it wouldn't be a record store movie without a great shoplifting scene, a la Empire Records. And now's the moment where I'll take a moment to pause and say, I know, guys, I know. I'm sure many of you are at home thinking, why didn't Shane do Empire Records? I love that movie.
He literally messages me this morning. and it's like, we should have done fucking Empire Records.
I want you guys to understand, I have looked at this can of beer 100 times, and never once have I thought, oh, we should do Empire Records with this beer.
Every time
I
it's
have
High
literally
Fidelity.
always said to Bo, we can do High Fidelity. We can do High Fidelity. And I love High Fidelity. Don't get me wrong. But I did. I had a moment this morning where I was like, damn it, I'm an idiot. But yeah, so guys, don't come at me. We're going to do Empire Records.
We'll
I'll find another thing that
something.
fits. Oh, okay. So back on track. So we do have a nice, this movie has a good shoplifting scene, which is great.
These two punks, they go in there shoving shit up under their shirt.
One's got the cheetah hair.
Yeah, he's got like cheetah print hair, and Rob's he gets like a sense about it, and he just looks over at him. He's like, Barry, the door.
Barry does not get the door in time.
They chase him outside, and one of them drops their skateboard.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, how much is the board worth to you? Give me the.
You got to tell me
back.
right now. Is it more or less than the record, than the shit you took?
Obviously
in all
not.
fairness, that board looked like crap.
Yeah,
I'm super, and they had like 9 albums plus that
It's his own
magazine on how to make recordings.
Yeah.
So I was shocked that they were like,
It's his only skateboard, I guess.
I don't know. But yeah, so they say yes, they give back the albums. This is when we find out they just want to make music.
It comes back later. But
Yeah.
that's kind of the end
Well,
of the
you can
scene.
see a split second on Rob's face where he was kind of like,
Huh.
but yeah, then the scene's over and we see Laura shows up, just the record store.
Yeah, just
When
when
he's
he's
closing
closing
down.
and stuff. She's just like, I thought you would like a ride home.
This is super awkward
Yeah, it's
between
like,
the
what
two
are
of
you?
them.
Why are you here?
Well, this is after they already had an issue when she showed up the first time in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Like they already had a fight, him proving that they couldn't do this, right?
yeah.
And she was like, maybe this time it's going to work.
I honestly felt like through most of this movie, I'm like, man, Laura, babe, you can do better. You can do way better than this fucking guy.
Oh, definitely. Well, that's almost the argument that he starts making, right? They get to his place and she walks in, she notices the records are reorganized. And then he immediately just starts like berating her for dating him in the first place.
Like, you're a
why were you
lawyer.
slumming it living here? And
Like
shit.
you went to law school and you know all this other shit. Why are you fucking here in my shitty apartment with me? And she's like, because I wanted to be with you, dickhead.
Yeah. And again, though, she is super nice to
And
him.
he's still just kind of like, bullshit.
He always fucks it up. He always has to hit the conversation where it doesn't need to go. And so where does he hit it to? Let me ask you one question.
Yeah.
You're not going to like it. It's just
Oh.
like, dude, everything that
do
comes
it.
out of his mouth, you're like, that's the dumbest thing that can come out of your
It's like,
mouth.
don't-
That's the
if-
dumbest thing that can come out of your mouth.
If you know they're not going to like it, don't do it.
Well, if you know they're not going to like it because it's straight up a question you shouldn't ask because it is
Right.
that kind of not okay anymore, you're not still dating her.
And you're not going to like the answer either. So why?
Well, he did, though.
True.
Because the answer was what he wanted.
most of the time,
Most of the time, it's not going to be what you want. If you have to ask this question,
Yeah,
it's usually not going to be an
bad.
answer you like. So he hits her with the, have you slept with Ian?
Not yet.
She has not.
Nope, not yet.
No, she does.
She hasn't felt like it.
Hard hit the yet.
Yeah, they have.
That comes up.
They have not had sex, but they have slept together.
And that's more enjoyable.
Yeah, she likes doing that more.
Well, she's just trying to slight him right now.
I feel like the hair would.
She's just trying to slight
I
Rob.
know.
It's not. I mean, even if that is true, she only said it to slight Rob. But
He doesn't toss and turn and elbow me in the face at night like you do, Rob.
But then Rob proves even more of how much of a horrible human being he is. He gets this information and he's excited. He's like,
He's
good.
outside dancing, doing the shadow boxing and
So
shit.
you would think, right? So you would think if he's that excited that she's not slept with him, right? That would mean his next option is let's call her up and get her back, right?
Yeah.
Like why else are you excited?
I have a shot here.
And why else would you care that she's not slept with that guy?
Fuck no, that's not what he does.
What's he do?
He goes and bangs that Maria chick.
God damn it. God damn it, Rob.
Just because.
You want to be good and we can't
And what
even
makes
with
it
you.
worse is he uses all this relationship stuff that he's going through right now as a way to smooth talk her into bed.
Yep.
And that's how he explains it to us. He's all like, how does a dipshit like me get to go to bed with her? I'll tell you how, because I turned the melancholy into charm or some bullshit.
Well, and then he shows us an entire scene
Yeah.
of the night where we see that he can say whatever he wants, but he was trying to be that like sad sack emo guy who's using his misfortune in his favor to have you feel sorry for him.
Oh, pity me. I'm so cute and brooding.
And then we even see the wake up in the morning, and the movie almost wants you to feel like that is like he was success. Like
Yeah, he succeeded.
because they're playing We Are the Champions, and I was like,
Right?
I was like, music choice not correct right now. He is a scum person right now, not a
I guess
I
that's
shouldn't
the
be
music
trying.
that was playing in his
I
head.
hope so, because I don't feel like that was a
No,
triumphant
it wasn't.
moment.
And to Maria's credit, she immediately calls him on his bullshit the next morning.
Yeah.
She's just like, all right, I saw through all your shit. What's really going on? What's her name?
Well, because Rob is trash.
Right.
But luckily, like you said, she calls him out. We find out that no, he didn't use her. She used him.
Yeah, she used him. She's like, look, man,
Sex. Look,
we're all
I'm hung
fucked
up on that guy. Still,
we're all hung up on our exes, but there ain't no reason we can't have a good time. Sex is a basic human right.
there you go. It's that easy. It's that simple. Now we never see her again.
I feel like she should rephrase that to consensual sex is a basic.
I think that part's implied.
Yeah,
I do
but
agree.
still.
We live in a day and age where you
have
probably
to say
should say
that.
that. Like I said, this is it. This is her end.
They shake
go
hands
outside,
and
shake hands, and go their
off
separate
their-
ways. He even says, "I'll call you," and she's just
laughs.
like, "No,
She's
you're
like,
not."
no, that's not gonna happen.
But now we see again. Even though he should be over everything, he's focused on the yet.
Immediately, as soon as she starts to walk away, we get fourth wall
Yeah.
break to like, what does the yet mean? What does that mean? You haven't done it yet. To the point where he even brings Barry in with a bullshit question
About
like,
movies.
about like,
Evil Dead 2.
I haven't
If you
seen
haven't seen
Evil Dead 2
yet.
yet. What does that mean?
He's focused on, does yet imply you just haven't? Is it extra emphasis on the fact that you haven't?
Yeah.
Or does it imply the want, the desire to do said thing?
And even Barry's like, I mean, that yet kind of implies
Well,
that
at first he's just like, I can't fucking know.
right? Like, I have no fucking
There's
idea.
no way to fucking understand what that yet could mean. Like, I was just like, thank you, Barry. Tell him.
The yet is the thing. That's what I wrote in my fucking notes. He can't get over it. Yeah, he calls Laura.
Now he calls up Laura, which is already kind of bizarre.
And pesters her to go meet for a drink.
Before we find out what it's for, it almost feels like he's just trying to keep her so busy she can't
talk
sleep
to
with
Ian.
Yeah, but it seems like he's just doing this to keep her busy,
If I
right?
distract her enough, it won't happen.
But then we quickly find out that that's not even what's
Fuck
going
no.
on. He just wants to find out if she has.
did.
He is looking like a man strung out on drugs.
Yeah, he is.
When he asks her, right? Does he not look
he's
like
got the bags under
you can
his
tell he's not been
eyes and shit.
sleeping because it's been eating at
for
him.
days.
And of course she says yes, and he gets offended.
And leaves all pissed off and shit. It's like, dude, you just
My
banged that
man's-
one chick.
My man slept with a woman the same night that she most likely slept with Ian.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Rob essentially slept with a stranger.
In celebration of the fact that she hadn't slept with Ian yet.
A guy she's been living with for several weeks now.
Yeah, at least.
I don't agree with the relationship. I already said my piece about how weird it is that that's the guy she chose. All of that put aside, we don't know the relationship they've developed in the couple of weeks she's been living there. She's in more right than wrong territory.
Yeah, she
and
has-
Rob is squarely in wrong
He's
territory.
very wrong. I mean, she has more of a right to bang Ian than he did to go fuck that one
Right?
chick.
So there was...
I'm so happy my ex didn't bang that dude
Let me
she's
go
living
sleep with someone
I'm a
else.
bang random chick I met at the nightclub.
Major problems with
Yeah,
Rob.
not the exact
He's the biggest
best way to
hypocrite
think about it.
ever in the world.
He's a huge hypocrite.
So now we see the point. He's so
full psycho.
He starts calling her and hanging up. He calls the
He
operator
calls
and
information,
gets
gets Ian's
Ian's address,
address.
which is crazy because he didn't do anything spectacular. He made a 5-second phone call and got that information from an unlisted in the phone book individual. Man, I'm glad that a few things have changed.
Yeah, a little
since back
bit. It shouldn't
then,
be that
'cause
fucking
that was
easy.
nuts. But so then he starts calling from the payphone right outside
In the pouring ass fucking rain.
and gaslighting her, right?
Right?
He tries to gaslight her into how she shouldn't be upset at
That-
him.
Like, you can't be mad at me. You're just doing this because you're running away. And
Right?
All this
Like,
other
he's
fucking
trying to be
bullshit.
like-
It's like, no, dude, fuck you. You're
He's trying to
the
be
asshole
like,
here.
He says you can have your wild adventures if that's what you need, right? Like that, and she's just like, I'm just trying to live my life
Right,
now.
like-
This isn't a wild. I'm not sowing my oats.
You are a toxic element in my life I need to remove right now.
Rob is trash.
Yeah, he is.
Rob is
an
the
asshole.
problem. Liz goes to talk to Rob because she's like, look, you got to quit this.
Yes, you were good. until you started this psycho bullshit.
Well,
now you're uniting them against you.
Well, she doesn't even say now. She says the things you've done, which to me definitely solidifies the fact that it's self-fulfilling prophecies.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy every time.
When he had the conversation with her the first time, he put the notion into her head, which caused this relationship to actually become a relationship that it was never going to be had he not put the notion into her head about if she had slept with Ian.
Yeah, it's true. It probably would have taken her longer to get to that point.
If it would have gotten there at all.
You had said it. If you hadn't have made such a stink, she might have not fucked Ian.
He is the cause of his own problems.
He is. He's the biggest detriment to his own life.
But I will give Liz credit because she hits him with the real knowledge question right now, which is, why the fuck do you care?
Yeah, why do you want her back?
Why does this matter? Well, she didn't even say want her back. She's literally just like, why do you care? Why do you want to do this? Why does this matter? Because right now he hasn't said he wants her back. That's like, she's trying to get him to admit that. She's trying to like coax that out of him. She's like, look, if you don't want her back, which you've not said you want her back, then that doesn't matter.
Why the fuck does this matter?
So again, you need to speak it out loud to people. If that's where you're at, buddy, you're not telling us that. You're just being upset about things that technically, for a man in the position you're in,
don't need to
has
be upset
no right
about.
To be upset about, because you're not that guy now.
Yeah, you need to let it go. Let it go or get her back. Pick one.
Exactly. That's pretty much the conversation, right? Like, I mean, not directly, which is Liz's problem. She doesn't understand when you talk to a guy.
You gotta be direct.
You just gotta say, do this.
Yeah, nice and simple. We don't like to try and read between lines. We like clear, concise, direct orders.
Now we get Charlie calling back.
Shocker.
Nobody saw that.
No one thought that bitch was going to call us back, but she is super happy to hear from him.
And
Rob Gordon. The Rob Gordon.
Well, and then she hits him with the fact that she's the kind of bitch that has had this conversation with many men.
Yep, a lot of her exes have
called her with this.
And the, what's it all mean?
Well, she's hoping that this isn't the same.
Yeah, you're not one of those, right?
But we all already know
that's exactly what the fuck he's doing.
He tries to play it cool.
No,
I'm not. Gets invited to a date.
They're going to a dinner party.
They haven't seen each other in 15 fucking years.
It's a little too easy, right?
They set up a date in 5 seconds.
Right?
On the phone,
for like
having seen each other
later tonight,
not even talked yet. It's very bizarre. But
it's not even a day. Wait, it's like later that evening.
Before we can even get there, though, Ian comes to the record store.
I love this fucking shit.
This was such a quick scene, but it's so great.
It's so good.
Ian comes again. He told us earlier.
He's perfectly nice.
Well, he told us earlier.
Conflict resolution is his
job.
Thing.
Yeah, it's his job. So he knows how to do this.
Here to
he can
try
handle
and talk.
This. I'll point out, Ian looks like a douche. Everything about his visual presence is the absolute pinnacle of doucheness.
Yep.
Him as a person,
he seems nice.
He seems all right.
He seems like a nice dude.
He seemed nice when he talked to her about how crazy the dude was being outside.
Yeah, he was totally chill about that.
He totally listened when she said, don't go talk to him. It's not going to help anything.
Yep.
Now he finally was like, look, you went too far. We need to talk about this. He's still being reasonable and says reasonable things.
You don't need to be outside my house like that. You know,
at no point do I have a reason to not like Ian outside of his facade,
like the way he looks. You look like a douchebag.
But as far as like what we see of him as a person, totally reasonable.
Completely.
But then we see Rob have 9 versions.
Like
not really 9,
fantasy versions of what he would do.
Each progressively worse than the first. Right, the first time he's just kind of like cusses him out.
He's like, "Get the fuck out of my store, you rebound patchouli smelling fuck."
And then the second time, it's a little bit more intense of a cuss out.
He's going after him, and the other
it chases him down.
They're all like holding him back.
And then the third one. The third one
was the best.
Just starts with a phone. It's like
fucking Dick. Even Dick hits him in the face with a phone, knocks his teeth out.
It's the Office Space scene,
yeah,
right?
Where they're beating the shit out of the fucking the printer. Dick ends up killing him with the fucking air conditioner unit. All in his head.
None of them real. None of them real. Ian actually just leaves totally normal.
Because he said his piece. He's like, look, let's just stay the fuck away. I'm gonna leave now. It's totally fine.
All right.
Personally, I would have went with the first choice, the patchouli smelling fuck thing.
Yeah.
That was good.
It was fine. It was a fine way to go about it. Again, because he doesn't know.
It's his store, and he can't tell that motherfucker to get the hell out.
And now we get our date with Charlie.
Yep.
Again, I will point out, as I already have, 15 years. 15 years later, she opens the door like it's been 5 days.
5 minutes.
I mean, it's outrageous how she acts like it's not a big deal that they've not seen each other.
Oh my God. No, there's none of that. She's just like, welcome.
Immediately, Rob realizes,
oh shit, she's a terrible fucking person.
And calls himself on being
an idiot.
And And an unreliable. He calls himself on being an unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
And he is.
He's like,
he's finally starting to realize maybe it's not just this one.
Yeah, maybe it's all of them. Maybe I've been fantasizing about all of these bitches and wanting the dream version of them. But what they actually are sucks.
He's not there yet, though. He's getting really close. He still has to talk to her, right? Like he has to finish the conversation before he can cement it.
It's starting to creep in when they're all talking at the dinner table and shit, and he's back there smoking and stuff. He's just like, wait a fucking minute.
But so then he tells us at the end of the night, he has the conversation, Charlie, with, damn it, of course, I knew it.
I knew you were doing the fucking, what does it all mean shit.
And he says, I should never have told her to be brutally honest with me, because what was she? Brutally honest. And she tells him, I left you for fucking
Marco because you were boring. And
it's not even boring. You were work. He seemed easy.
Yeah.
You were a lot.
He was glamorous.
I needed to tell you things. I needed to reassure you. I needed to make you this. I needed to make you that.
You're the problem, Rob.
Rob is the problem. We knew that because he told us. He never felt like he was going to be enough. And so if you don't feel like that, what's your partner going to have to do? Always talk you up.
Yep.
Always be doing the work.
And that gets exhausting. And you don't want to do it any fucking more.
So as much as Charlie, he wants to be like Charlie's a bitch, she was brutally honest.
He needed to hear this shit.
He needed to hear it.
And you needed to hear it from the top of your pyramid.
The top of the list.
You weren't going to listen to anybody else because she was the high point. Like she was like the perfect chick to you.
And so now it's great though, because now even before she had told him that stuff, he finally took her off the pedestal because he saw her for who she really was.
Being terrible.
Then she came out with the brutal honesty, which really cements she's never going to get put on top of it again.
It's like, oh yeah, you're done.
He needed to hear all of that.
Yep. But now I can put Laura up on the pedestal, right?
Yep.
Right? And so it's just knock Charlie on off, throw Miss Laura up there.
But before we get there, though, we get another nice in the store scene. You remember? You know what's going on right now?
Dick's got a date.
Oh, it's before Dick gets a date, though. Well, no, I mean this is Dick gets a date, but it's the part I want to talk about is before Dick gets a date. It's fucking Barry's band, dude. The dude comes in.
The guy comes in and he's just like
that guy seems more like he wants to date Barry than fucking Anna seems like she wants to date Dick.
It seemed like he was hitting on Barry and shit. He's like, oh yeah, we'll get together and we'll jam out.
I'm telling you, I was like, man, you're skipping over the best part.
I almost forgot about that. I'm sorry.
And the fact that fucking Barry has the coolest, every name he has for this band is cool, but the one that's on the sign was dope. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it.
Hip Young Gunslingers.
Oh.
Hip Young Gunslingers.
I like that.
I like it, dude.
I like Sonic Death Monkey later.
I know. I like all of his band names. They're all great. 100% Barry had no idea how to handle someone
actually coming into audition for his band.
Everybody else is like making fun of him for it. They're like, dude, you've had that sign up for 7 years.
Like,
it's no big deal. I mean,
you don't even play an instrument. I sing.
It's not like some of us want to stay here our whole lives. And then he immediately segues that into, you ready to go?
Right.
And then that's when Dick's on his date. He's got a date. He can't go out like they normally do.
No, I got to go somewhere. Where the fuck are you going?
Oh, I've got a date with Anna.
Oh, Anna. And he starts giving him shit and then he's like, oh, wait, the Green Day chick.
Well, no, he made fun of where they met and he goes, actually, we met here talking about Green Day.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But then he was like encouraging and still sounded like an asshole.
He did, but he was
being, I know he was, but he still sounded it. Jack Black, goddammit.
The only real friends can do shit like that to you.
But yeah, like you already said, Rob has fully gone back. He is full on Laura at this point, right? So we get moments where he's giving us his top 5 lists of Laura in the background.
Why he likes her and shit.
Different things like that are happening on the in-betweens, right? And then Laura comes to the apartment. This scene was super weird, right?
He has the top 5 dream jobs and shit.
Yeah, well, but the reason it was so weird is
why is she just in his apartment?
Well, she was getting more stuff. It was in the hallway. Yeah.
Okay,
remember that was when he found the pile of it. When he came in the door, it was sitting right there. She was sitting at the table still reading. Yeah. So that was fine. It was just weird because, again, this is right after they had what was the most heated of all conversations because it was the sex one. And she is acting so nonchalant. She's acting
just
so
sitting at his kitchen table just reading.
And he totally slips back into not thinking about everything for a few minutes. For a few minutes, it's
comfortable.
Like it should be. And then he fucks it up.
Hey, of course he does because he can't fucking help it.
He always has to fuck it up.
Can't keep that foot out of his mouth.
During the conversation mentioned, though, top 5 dream jobs, right? This is how much she proves that, again, she maybe didn't want to leave him, but she needed for him to have a wake-up call, right? She is here. She has every reason to not even want to look at the guy. They're looking at the dream jobs, and she even points out to him, well, the last one's not even a job you want. You said so yourself, right?
Yeah, like, why the fuck would you want to be an architect?
What about owns a record store? She's trying to make him see, like,
your life's not that bad.
you're literally living
You're doing
your
what you
dream.
wanted to do, you dumbass.
Well, and he has done many of the things he's wanted to do. One of the things was to perform. He used to
he was a
perform.
DJ and shit, right? Come on, man.
She is there to drive home, right? Like you again, he is work. He has these thoughts. He beats himself down.
He is the most insecure fucking person ever.
But she still wants to be there.
Yep, she wants to be
she is willing to
encouragement.
She is willing to put in the work.
Good for her. I wouldn't be.
Oh, hell no. But that's not the point. Rob is finally realizing he's been the problem all along. I would say right now is the moment he realizes that, and that he realizes that he needs to fix things.
And yep, he's like, I gotta get her back.
And not just the relationship, right? Like he's realizing he needed to fix his life.
I gotta fix me.
First up, Vince and Justin.
They go into the...
Well, he goes into work
and they're playing the music and stuff, and they're just like,
he walks right past him. Well,
this?
they tell him Laura called.
Yeah.
He doesn't even pay attention to it. He walks back around from his office, whips his head, and who is this? It's those fucking skaters, Vince and Justin. What? They're good.
Really fucking good.
It was, dude.
Barry
I liked it. It sounded so dope.
Barry is just like dismayed about it. He's like, oh fuck, it's good. God damn it.
The Kinky Wizards.
I love the name. The Kinky Wizards is so good.
But so Rob decides he's going to produce them.
Yep.
One of his 5, one of his dream jobs
was producing an album. Yeah.
One of them was performing. She put on this. Literally, she was trying to get him to understand, like, you are living your dreams.
Yeah, you're doing the things you want. You're just too up your own ass to realize it.
This is maybe the point where he realizes he can do more of them, but it's because of her conversation. You know, it's because she whipped him into shape.
It's because of her.
But so that's what we got there. We got that is going on. They ask him the name of his label. Top 5 records. I love it for the reference it makes. I love it for the name. It sounds good.
So
it flows well.
Why isn't there actually
I'm sure
one?
there is at this point, dude. I'm sure.
Yeah, probably.
If there wasn't when the movie came out, there was one instantaneously after the movie came out.
Yeah, this was a big movie when it came out.
Yeah, it doesn't get talked about a lot now.
No,
and
but when it came
got
out,
a good
like,
ratings
it was everywhere.
too. Like with fucking, it's like 7.3 stars out of 10 or something.
That. I'd give it 8.
It's crazy that doesn't get talked about as much today.
It's just one of those. It's just one of those great movies that just people forget about.
90% of it is with technology that doesn't exist anymore. So
yeah,
that does impact a lot of things.
True.
We got off topic. So after he tells them he's going to produce them, he finally goes inside. When he gets inside, he talks to the guys, and the guys are like, "Oh yeah, by the way, don't forget, you need to call Laura."
You gotta call Laura.
He calls Laura.
Her dad died.
Man. Grief is a hard thing.
I mean, we were starting to have this like little upswing in the story.
Top 5 tracks about death.
Yeah,
these guys are fucking crazy.
In tribute to Laura's dad.
These guys are crazy,
right?
They're talking, and then he's like, "What song was it?" He's like, "We can't use that one on principle." He's in The Big Chill.
I can't remember, but I remember he's like,
"I know
Edmund Fitzgerald."
That's a good
you,
one,
bastard. That should have been mine.
That's the moment we're getting a little bit of cut back and forth between them having their conversation. We see he calls Laura back again, right, to get some more details. Like when finally, because the first time she was still like,
she just told him
she was
died.
super
was
grief.
Just super crying.
She was not ready to be on the phone yet or anything. She told him why she had called, and that was it.
Hung up.
Now it's like the details, and she's like, "Look, I want you to go," which makes sense.
My mom wants you to go because Dad liked you.
Yeah, well, and again, like if Charlie was supposed to be a big deal because they dated for 2, we know that means Laura and him have dated more.
Yeah, way longer.
So obviously he would be the one that would go, even if her mom knows, which is right now we don't know that for sure. For all we know, she's not told her mom yet.
Yeah, she probably not, since she didn't tell her dad.
Yeah, well, I mean, he wasn't going to tell his mom until she called, and he had to.
Yeah,
so in all fairness, it is what it is. Yeah. I'm not upset at her for not telling. I'm just saying maybe she hasn't. So it makes sense. And again, like they wouldn't have known Ian. It'd be weird for Ian to go. So I mean, it makes sense. But that's the kicker, right? Rob didn't need to bring up Ian, did he?
Ian going?
Did he need to do that?
No, and I love,
obviously if she asked him to
her
come,
reaction. Her reaction is just no, and hangs up.
Rightfully, when she specifies to you the reasons she wants you there.
Yeah, my mom and dad both liked you, and I didn't tell them that we broke up, so it'd be nice if
Why
you
would
went.
it make sense for Ian to be there?
Right? It's like, what the fuck, dude? Think shit through a little bit.
So I agree with that. Then we just get to the funeral, right? There's nothing.
Yeah,
Let's not sugarcoat this.
They go straight to the funeral.
Well, he's talking about songs at his funeral first.
Yeah,
like,
that
right?
was
He's like top 5 songs at my funeral. While at the while in the beginning,
preacher
right?
is
Like,
doing the fucking eulogy, and he's just like, oh, he's fantasized about this like beautiful woman singing,
and nobody knowing who she was.
You were the greatest thing to ever happen
But
to me
who would
by
that
Gladys
woman
Knight.
be?
And then it
That's what he
pans
says.
over to fucking Laura.
Obviously, that's what
Obviously.
it would be.
And she's just sobbing away.
Can we address this, though? Did you notice they're in the church?
Yeah.
They lower the casket somewhere.
Are they burying
while
him in the church?
I am glad that this was a problem to you because I've been to a lot of funerals in a lot of places, in a lot of different types of... I've seen people who were going to be buried in fucking like mausoleum things. Yeah. I have... Never seen a hole in the church that the casket gets. Where did it go?
It's like
Is there a basement?
Right.
Does the basement?
Crypt. Is there a crypt?
Does the basement reach actual ground level and they're driving from there?
Maybe.
It's not important. I don't want to
just
make it
was
seem
weird,
important.
Right?
It was just
weird. But then we have like the wake, the reception after the funeral.
We hear from Liz and her sister that Laura is taking it really hard, and then Liz starts throwing the backhanded comments about fucking Rob. Rob starts screaming like, "Fuck you, bitch!"
Yeah, fuck you. You're an asshole too here because
he's like, look. I'm not gonna. You think I should just listen to it? I mean, shouldn't I? I mean, the least you should expect from me is that I'll defend myself. I'm not gonna let you just say these horrible things.
I'm just gonna let you talk shit about me. A, thought you were my friend. B, I'm standing right.
While I agree with him, it is the wrong venue.
It is
for that conversation at the levels he is having that conversation.
He needed to do that way quieter or take that bitch outside and do it.
But she again. Liz hits him with the real knowledge.
Did you ever even apologize?
Did you ever fucking tell her I'm sorry? You've already admitted that you did wrong.
Yeah, you were the asshole. Now go apologize.
But have you ever? And again, she's not talking about now. She's talking about everything. She's talking about all 4 of the 2 of 4 things. Yeah. She is talking about things recently. She's talking about the conversations about Ian for no fucking reason. She is talking about all of it. She is not talking about the generic "I'm sorry your dad passed,"
like,
which is almost even how it sounded when he went to finally say it.
But luckily Laura kind of picked up on the
realness
of it.
Right?
She's like what
oh,
really that's a big sorry.
Yeah. And then he walks out. This was so crazy because it's
he likes to run in the rain, doesn't he?
It's coming down cats and dogs out there.
It's his favorite thing to do, I've noticed. Just run through the rain.
In a suit.
He's soaked and he runs to the bus stop and he just sits.
And she pulls up in the car.
He tries to hide. He jumps over the fence into the mud.
You could hear it. And then did you even notice like the bridge? He puts his hand up on the bridge and there's so much mud on his hand. It just colors everywhere his hand touches.
It's just running all over that poor fence. But she's like, get in the car. I didn't want to be at the funeral anyway. Let's go somewhere and do something.
Grief is a hell of a thing.
Yeah. Then we have the weirdest sex scene ever.
Grief is a hell of a thing.
I'm not gonna lie, I fast forwarded through because I was like, this is weird.
It was weird. It was uncomfortable.
I get it. She wants to feel, and she made the whole comment about it's either this or you burn me with cigarettes.
Well, but here's the thing. You fast forward through some of the real reason that she was doing it, I feel like, is the scene, because this scene came right after he was talking about how he loved her dry sense of humor.
Yeah.
And that was all of the beginning to it when she was like the cigarette. That was supposed to be her dry sense of humor.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
I get it, but it was still just
I get it. It was awkward. It was uncomfortable. We could have had everything in the car happen without the sex, right?
Yeah.
Like we could have just had them have a moment and then her be like,
I want to get back together. I'm tired of
I don't want to talk about it. I just want to go home.
Right.
That could have all still worked without the sex.
Yeah,
I agree.
Totally could have.
100%. I love this movie for the fact that is real, right? Like sometimes relationships are messy. There's no real conclusion. Sometimes we just know that that's the person and we deal with.
Yeah, we just go.
We deal with messiness.
We're just dating now again.
Well, again, it's real.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's real life.
Nothing
is clean.
Nothing is not messy. There's always messiness, right? Like, and if you've convinced yourself that there is no messiness to the situation around you, you're probably blind to something that is very messy.
And good for you, I guess.
I wouldn't even say that. because again, if you're just blind to something that is actually there, maybe he was blind to how bad of an asshole he was. Was it good for him? No. It caught up to him eventually. So like I said, maybe not good for you.
No, but I mean,
maybe you should evaluate. My point was, if you think there's nothing wrong with your life, you should probably look closer, because there probably is, and you're just lying to yourself.
Yeah, but if you want to live the lie, sure.
If you want to, which pill is that? If you want
right, red pill, blue pill.
Yeah, I'm not a big
you
enough.
Wake up and none of this.
I'm not a big
happened.
enough Matrix fan to remember which one was which. So if you want to take the pill,
whichever one it is, you want the rabbit hole pill or the I wake up and none of this happened pill.
And so then he tells us, though, things are great. Things are. Yeah. He now has everything he ever wanted.
Moved all of her shit back in. Like
they're happier than they've ever been.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
Until this is literally what he said, guys. This isn't me. This is not me trying to be like
sitting there talking to us like, and then
of course this,
and then this fucking thing happens.
And we see, and thankfully we don't really see the thing that he wants us to think does happen. Does not. I will at least say that. But we lead into it thinking the worst.
It's like, oh fuck, man, you're gonna do it again?
Yeah, because some hip young girl comes in saying she knows him. She's heard his music. She wishes she could hear more.
And she's a journalist for some music magazine. And
fucking even Barry, dude. Even Barry. Barry was like, hey, you gotta call.
Girlfriend is on the phone.
You know she didn't call, right? There's no one on that phone.
No, he's just trying to stop him from doing something
the dumbness,
stupid
and
again.
he was like, let me stop the dumbness.
Good friend. He's an asshole. Good friend, though. I'm looking out for you, boy.
He's down on himself, and Laura builds him up, right? Like she's like, you can do this. You've made
all this
music.
shit.
You've done this. You've done that. You've done this. You've done that.
All that shit.
And you see that, and you're like, good. Like he had this close call, and now we see that he sees she's good for him, and she's still there, building him up. He's not gonna fuck up. Instantly, we see him talking at midnight on the phone with the dumb reporter bitch again, and
I'll make you a mixtape. Don't worry, I'll send you a mixtape of all my favorite shit. And then he starts making the tape, and he's like, the key to a good mixtape. And then it hits him what the hell he's doing.
And then she walks in, Laura walks in the door,
and he's just like, it's gotta stop, right? Even she hears him. She's like, what's gotta stop? And he's like, nothing. But then he's like,
I will give him credit.
She's like, well, who's the tape for?
I will give him credit. He tells her.
Admits it.
He admits he's making a mixtape for a girl
who interviewed me for that magazine.
And he knows how bad he's fucked up. Thankfully, we now cut to CD release night. I sold my mom's wheelchair. Hit release.
Music for old people to dance to.
I love all of these. Again, Sonic Death Monkey. Every name for anything is perfect.
Yeah, all the band names and shit are great.
Kathleen Turner Overdrive.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
God damn, dude. Okay, but yeah, so we're at the show. Everything's going good. He comes off the DJ stand, introduces Barry's band.
He tried so hard to not have show up because he's convinced it's going to be bad. He's even like, I should have played the entire album before we let Barry go on. These people just burn the place down.
Barry was good.
It was awesome. This is a great freaking version of this song. Let's get it on. Full Jack Black version. Yeah. It's so good.
And now we get Rob trying to propose.
Yeah. She's just like, dude, I mean, like,
she calls him out.
You were making a mixtape for all of this shit.
She calls him out on all of his bullshit and says no.
Yeah.
She does not break up with him, but she says no. She says, do you really think I was going to say yes?
He's like, I figured the asking was the important thing.
And she says, thank you for asking.
It was. And thank you. And it's all good now. Because he doesn't want to do the fantasy bullshit anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
He wants the real life.
The real underwear.
The real underwear. He wants the real washed 1,000 times cotton underwear.
Not the crazy lingerie or whatever. He didn't say lingerie, but whatever.
Like,
and she goes, I've got those.
He's like, that's not what I mean. She gets it eventually. Yeah.
And then we finally close out. He's making a mixtape again, but this time he's scrapping his rules.
Yep.
Because his rules were all about what he thought
they needed to think
on their mixtape. And now he's trying to do it the way you should do it. Trying to make stuff that she likes and she would want.
And stuff that
on
makes
a mixtape.
Her happy. And he puts the headphones on, kicks it back.
He's finally truly evolved.
Right? And that's how our movie ends, is him just back listening to music, making a mixtape for his girl.
Part of why I I love the movie. This is real world.
Yeah.
This was not a rom-com,
No.
right? Like, because most of this movie has nothing to do with them actually.
There's
you don't
no
think
rom-
they're good.
there's not
you
a
don't,
lot of
well, you don't even think
romance.
there's a relationship anymore.
No.
90% of the movie has them not together. And then when they finally get together, it still keeps it real because it's not instantaneously like, oh, they're back, they're fixed.
Yeah,
it's like,
not
no,
even,
they're back.
It's not even a redemption arc.
They
because
still have things that they're fixing. They
Right.
still have things they're working on.
all you're left with at the end is like there's hope that he'll get better at
that every
this
day
shit.
he's going to learn a
Yeah.
little bit more.
he's
because
not gonna,
at least
he's
now
not going to go down that road again of
Well, because-
self-fulfilling bullshit.
Well, because at least now he's
aware of it.
and willing to learn. Wasn't
Yeah.
before he wasn't.
Complete denial, and it's all the other bitches' fault. It had nothing to
Exactly.
do with me. Why am I cursed?
All we have at the end of this movie is just hope that
and I
he
like
can
that.
move on.
And that's real. I like
That's
that.
real, exactly.
That's-
I love that. Don't give me a fake.
No.
Happily forever after.
yeah,
It's not
fuck
real.
you, man. I want the like. Well, it might get better.
You know what I mean?
Keeps
Like,
working.
what is it? The pictures, smiley face, heart, infinity symbol. That's not real.
No, it's not.
I'm not saying that it can't happen, but for you to use that as your generalization for how a story ends, that's not real.
No, we're left at the end of this movie of like, well, they're back together, and it looks promising.
That's good.
And
that's the best we can
that's
ask for.
realistic as fuck, and I love it.
That's the end of the movie.
That's it. What'd you think of this?
I love the movie.
I do too. I love the movie.
The beer. Well, for the record, grew on me a lot. By the time we were done,
Let it aerate.
We've not had anything from Mirror Twin yet that has been like
Disgusting.
truly disappointing.
Yeah, no, this is pretty good. Go try it, everybody.
On that note, though, what are we gonna drink next week, man?
Oh, next week we got some fancy French cognac. We got some Courvoisier. Now, what movie could we possibly be doing with some Courvoisier?
I feel like this is a gimme.
A little bit.
Like we said, sometimes it has to be a gimme. Sometimes it's just because we want to do something fun.
Because it's a fun movie, but I hope everybody guesses it. Let us know in the comments and everything.
But all right, on that note, I think we're done, man.
Let's go spin some records.
She lives in an Ian-less world.